Today's episode is brought to you by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that makes expertly designed products to help you get your best rest one night at a time. Get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/STS, as in Secrets to Success, STS, and using the promo code STS at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Today's show is also brought to you by Organifi. Organifi is an organic superfood supplement line that makes quality, trusted nutrition convenient and accessible. Their most popular product, green juice, solves the problem of juicing your greens on the go. Just add it to water, to drink, and let your body soak up the benefits. Visit Organifi.com to learn more about an exciting offer for all our Secrets to Success podcast listeners.
I wake up every single day. I am who I say I am. And I get what I get because I live in beast mode. Stop being gazelles. You're not average. You're not even good. You were born to be great.
What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Secret to Success podcast. I'm your host, CJ, joined as always by the Bayesian sensation, Mr. Carl Wesley Phillips.
What is going on?
And always, the Honorable Dr. Thomas.
Honorable, I wish. My mortgage company knew I was the honorable. They don't know. They keep sending me a bill every month.
Oh, yeah. No,
Hey,
they
that's
keep
why,
sending that bill.
because you are honorable, you're going to pay. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. What's that like?
Yeah, no, it is. It's that time of the year, guys. We out here. It is officially 2018. We rolling. I feel like we ain't been together, the three amigos, in quite some time. Carl, we missed you last week anyway. We missed you.
Yeah.
You didn't make your way down to Atlanta.
Not quite. I prefer to stay up here and freeze my butt off. I don't know why.
Well, we got snow here in Atlanta today, so
right.
my kids off school. So if y'all hear some background noise, you know why. But yeah, they canceled everything, man. And finally, this time, I think they actually canceled it for a good reason. We had, a little bit of snow. It's white outside. I sent y'all a picture so y'all see.
Yeah.
But it's you can't drive in Atlanta in this because we don't have the salt truck capabilities to be able to take care of the roads. So kids out of school, Candace not going to work, but the podcast must go on. What episode is this, by the way?
Like 107, I want to say. I could be wrong, but it's in that ballpark. 107. It's somewhere around there.
107. Shout out to everybody who heard every single episode. You know what I'm saying? I just want to take a minute to shout out those people who've been rocking with us since day one. We appreciate you guys. E, where are you? I can't even. I'm gonna be real.
I stopped trying.
E is like a old retiree, just like island hopping. He's vlogging. I see he got a vlog stick. He running around. Somebody asked me. Somebody called me the other day. Was like, "Oh yeah, we want E to come speak. Is he down in South Florida?" And I was like, "No, I think he's in California." They were like, No, he just posted this morning. He in Florida. I was like, okay, why you ask me then? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I can't keep up with him. I'm like, I don't know where he's at. So,
And and they were right out. I was there. I had a morning flight, so I left, mid-morning. So I got up that morning, and did my thing, ran into a couple of people, you know what I'm saying? So they were right, but I got on that mid-morning flight, had to get to LA. I do want to say this though, C, and this is not about my journeys, if you will, but it really is about, making a decision, man. I want to encourage those of you who are listening, because really, in the beginning, really all it takes to make a dream become a reality is I'm talking about when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, type desire, and I mean that, man. I've been, on the road, and I run into people, on the streets, and they're like, E.T., I want to do it. And I'm just like, yo, do you really want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Because if you really want to do it, you can. And I hear this, I want to make it happen, but I just don't think a lot of people want it really, 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 want it badly. And then the other thing is, after that desire is really just making some decisions. And I know it sounds simple. You're like, E, you're making it seem so simple. It really is. And I'm saying that because, a year or two ago, I said I wanted to move to California, with my wife because of, the vitamin D deficiency. And my daughter was a big part of it, but Jada ended up going to Michigan State. And so I'm still making it happen, y'all. I'm still making it happen. You know, I made a vow to my wife, like, I'm not gonna have you in Michigan during the winter months. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get you out the winter. And I'm telling y'all, that's all I did. I made a decision. You know what I'm saying? I really, really wanted her to get that vitamin D. She is a totally different person. Many of us are different, you know, when it's -4. You know what I'm saying? But just in terms of her health.
For sure.
She's, yeah, and I, you know, because she'll say to me all the time, it's like, it's cold. I'm like, no, that's me. I, you know what I'm saying? I'm struggling too, you know, and a lot of people don't know in Michigan, it's not just that it's cold. We don't get a lot of sun, you know, during the winter months. So I just, man, had a desire to get her out. I made a decision that, yo, we out of here. And I don't, look, guys, I'm being honest with y'all. I'm not selling y'all no wolf tickets. I got a call in maybe November, December. ET, can you come to Orlando? I was like, no questions asked. So I came to Orlando, and C is my witness. I'm about to say something. I want C to chime in. C is my witness. So I get a gig in Orlando. I stay the entire week. I want to take my girl to Disney World, you know, and out of nowhere, G, and I'm not going to say his full name because I don't want y'all calling him, hawking him down for tickets, but G works for, he works for Disney. I just happened to connect with him at the BU meetup. I'm saying, y'all, for real, just get to the spot. I don't have to do BU meetups. Like, that's not a part of the package. But when I'm in a major city, I'm like, yo, I want to hook up with my people. I want to hook up with the people who are a part of this, you know, and G was like, what you trying to do today? I'm like, man, I'm going to Disney World. He was like, what time you trying to go? I'm like, man, about noon. He was like, I got you. I'm like, what you mean? Like discounts? He like, no, I got you. My man gave me free tickets. The parking was free. I roll up and my man was like, yo, ET, no way. I'm like, what? I listen to you every day. Go park right there. You know, so then Cali opened up, something I did last year. And let me tell y'all something. When you want something, it just changed for real, like stop making excuses, stop being a victim. I wanted my wife to be out of Michigan so bad. I think when I got to Orlando, bro, I spoke like I never spoke before. When I finished, she said to me, yo, hey, I need you to come back. I was like, okay, when you want me to come back? She's like, look, my parents, like, I really need to do a parent initiative. Do y'all have a parent curriculum? I was like, yeah, we got a parent curriculum. Now, mind you, I don't know that we have a parent curriculum. Like, I don't know that we have anything in writing for parents. And I'm just being real.
Do. It's just not on paper.
That's what I said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's in my head. So I was like, no question. I was like, look, do me a favor. Let's meet up before I leave. She called me 2 hours before I was getting on the road to go to Fort Lauderdale. And we met, and she said to me, yo, I need something for my parents. I was like, bet, I'll have it to you. That was Friday. I'm going to show y'all how we work, y'all. Praise God for LaShawna. And LaShawna being a straight gorilla. LaShawna was on the phone with the associate superintendent of schools, the superintendent of schools. I get there. The lady's like, look, I need a proposal. Monday is Martin Luther King Day. LaShawna was like, on Tuesday, I will have it for you. I promise you. LaShawna was like, I'll have it for you. I get off the phone. I'm asking the lady, when do you want me? She's like, I need you back here at the end of January, the beginning of February. And I need you for multiple days. I'm just showing y'all, like, when you really, really want something to happen and you make a decision like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. So I get to Cali. Same thing. I'm meeting with the superintendent of schools. I can't disclose the figure, see, but she like, look, I'm about to get with some foundations. I need you back here on a regular basis. So I'm just telling you, I got next year, I already got Cali school system, Florida school system, and I'm just showing y'all how it worked. Now,
Everywhere
if you kind of
in the heat.
want it, yeah, I'm talking about, see, everywhere. Then I got a gig in Vegas. I got a gig in Temecula later this week right here in California. And see, if you just be real, see, can you tell the people, I think you got 2 calls. You got one call from an agent, and then you got another random call. And I just want to show y'all how this thing works. So see if you don't mind telling them who it was and where they want me to speak, because I just want them to see this thing works when you work it.
I do mind. You know what I'm saying? Where do we go from here? No, I'll just play. One was for South Florida, and what was the other one? I'm tripping. Hold on. Yeah, South Florida, and where was they both were in Florida, right?
Both in Florida.
Yeah,
Both in Florida, see. Both in Florida, see. One corporate, one I guess like a sport in the sporting arena, professional sports arena. And I'm just showing y'all.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. You want to hear something? Hold on, I could probably say this. Hello, I don't think you've seen this. This came through last night. Hello, I noticed ET is going to be in Miami in February. Is there a way to connect him with our team when he's in town? And that is from a major university basketball head coach.
Wow.
In Miami.
Wow. Right.
Hey, let me share this quote, Ian. You could continue. I read it last night. It said, "Don't get mad at me dancing because you don't hear the music." Yeah, don't get mad at me dancing because you don't hear the music.
And you know what? And I look. That's it. That's it for whatever. But listen to me very closely. Where did it start? I made a promise to my wife. Bottom line, I made a promise to my wife that I will not. We did move to San Diego, and the circumstances didn't, allow. My daughter needed to be at Michigan State. Who will? Spartans will. She needed to get that Spartan education.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? She needed to get that Spartan education, But it wasn't a thing, guys, where because my daughter didn't go to school, I could renege. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't go back to my wife, C, and say, well, since Jada couldn't go to San Diego State University, I guess we're going to have to, forfeit, our travels. It's like, no, it's another way to make this happen. And I say this with all due respect, you hate to ruffle people's feathers. I don't want to get nobody upset. That's a part of my family, ETA family. But somebody said to me not too long ago in a discussion, yo, E, that's easy for you to do because, you speak. And let me just say this. I want y'all to go on YouTube and look at Eric Thomas and where my background, that whole nine. And I want you to see how many other motivational speakers come from my background who are where I am in the industry right now. So don't feel for 1 minute it's easy for me. This wasn't like, and no disrespect, but this isn't like basketball, football. This isn't like, some other professions where we are highly represented and it's easy to kind of see the path. AAU basketball, Pee Wee League, you know what I'm saying? Pop Warner, in some arenas, there's a path and it's easy to identify. This path, I promise you, this wasn't a path that was laid out and you do this in middle school, you do this in high school, you take this in college. And so I felt the person's frustration, I did. But I want to say to you guys, like, don't make it like it, don't think this road has been easy for me. Don't think that, I've had 50 mentors or 10 mentors or 5 mentors or 2 mentors or 1 mentor for that matter. I didn't follow the late great whoever, and the late great didn't open up a door for me. But I'm being real. This is what I want. This is what I want. And I'm willing to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for it. I'm willing to go to bed late for it. I'm willing to do whatever has to be done to get this done. So if you're listening to this podcast, I'm just saying to you, if you have a desire and you really, 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 really want it, and you're willing to make a decision, you're not all over the place. One day you here, next day you like, well, I don't see it, so I'm gonna quit. No, if you really make a decision that I wanna be down south or I wanna be on the West Coast for the winter, I guarantee you, God is going to open up the doors and make it happen if you're willing to put in the work.
Hey, what I'd say, E, real quick to that person is, and it's almost unfortunate to that person or that group of people because for real, they see this side of it. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. They hear you talk about the other side, but they see this side. So I'm saying like I almost understand where you're coming from, but understand that because we don't publicize, the other side of it as much, you don't see it, we don't post some of that stuff as much, and that's just the way of the world. You see everybody on Facebook, Instagram, they're at their best. We share whatever, but you have not seen, 20 years ago when E was doing this on his own, with a team in a bus, jumping in a bus, jumping from city, not even a bus, E, in your Suburban, from city to city, going wherever. You're not seeing all the other stuff. And like I said, you heard E talk about homelessness, but you haven't seen, I promise you, E, I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we went to the barbershop and it was like 4 or 5 degrees outside. And E was like mad pensive. And I'm like, yo, E, like, what's up? And he was like, yo, this was what it was like when I was outside in the cold. And I'm like, yo, see, I'm getting out the car, go to the barbershop. It's about 12 seconds of walking, and I'm about to die. And I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are not understanding for real. Like, yo, that's something that we can't show you. But to come from that to this, like, I got nothing to tell you. As a matter of fact, see it, you could co-sign this. I feel sometimes, a lot of the time, like, put to shame. Like, yo, how did E come from that and get here? You know what I mean? And I grew up with a 2-parent home sometimes. And I'm like, why am I not, you know what I'm saying? Why am I not further in the game? Just being real.
You should be the president of Barbados by now.
I'm talking about all the way out.
It's coming.
You know what I'm saying?
It's coming.
Yeah, but on the island by
real.
now.
Yeah,
With that good family you wasting.
Hey, let me tell you this.
That 2-parent background.
You playing C, but I saw Rihanna get a street named after her.
Oh, no doubt.
And I was like, yeah, no, they don't know Carl and what we doing over here.
It.
Yeah, no, she does. But I'm
No
like,
doubt.
Carl gonna get one though. I'm like, before we get out of here,
The
Carl's gonna get a
Bayesian
street.
Sensation
Yeah,
Freeway.
he gonna get a
Bayesian
street,
Sensation,
yeah.
there it is.
I'm not
See, there it is.
satisfied till I see the Bayesian Sensation Freeway.
Let's go.
feel me?
Oh,
Hey,
man.
I'm gonna put it in 2020.
No. Let's let
Yeah.
Oprah run for president first, and then we'll do that after.
Dirty
She run for
Santa
president.
Drive. I'm not satisfied till I see Dirty Santa Drive. Oh man, y'all stupid. Oh, real quick. Oh, E, you said, and I've been waiting on this for like a week now. I think you had another valet incident, maybe, and we know that you're known for having your valet. Some kind of way, you always need to get rebaptized at the valet. But you said you had a lion and gazelle rolled into one, so you have a lion and a gazelle of the week all in one. So I've been waiting on it. So let's
let
hear.
me tell you something. The Ritz-Carlton in Orlando is the first place ever to get the lion and gazelle, right?
At the same time.
So, and again, guys, man, dream it, y'all. Like, don't be afraid. Even the little things, don't be afraid. So I had to go to the BU meetup, and according to the map, it was like maybe 25, 30 minutes from the property I was staying. And so I was like, I'm gonna be real. I don't feel like driving. You know, I'm like, yo, I got work to do. You know, and I just was like, man, I want to be able to get on the phone, make my phone calls, and I don't want to, Didi been on my head about, you know, the texting and driving. So I'm like, yo, I got work to do. So I really don't want to drive. I would prefer to get a driver, but like that don't make sense. You paying for parking at the Ritz. You got it. I had an imp, see, that was out of this world. See, that imp was sweet. That imp was sweet. And so unfortunately the imp though was the remote starter. See, it was the remote starter. So the night before, you know, dropped the car off, me and Didi after we left the I forgot where we were, but got back, got
The
up that
little
morning.
vegan palace.
Yeah.
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So-
That's the only place y'all go is shopping in vegan restaurants.
Right. So I called down and I said to my man, like, you know, I need my whip. He like, no problem, Mr. Thomas. You know, they remember me from when I stayed there before, or should say when we tipped him before, you know, the last day when we tipped him. And so my man was like, got you, Mr. Thomas. I'll see you when you get down. Got downstairs. And my man was like, yo, I can't find the whip. So let me go to another spot. He went to another spot. He couldn't find the whip. So he came back to him and was like, yo, Mr. Thomas, you got the key? You know what I'm saying? Because the other day you had it in your book bag. And I was like, you know me, I ain't gonna lie to you. I could have it in my book bag. Let me look. Looked in my book bag. It wasn't in my book bag. And I was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I know if it's either in my book bag or I don't have it, but let me go back upstairs and check just to be on the safe side, right? Went back upstairs, checked, no key. Came back downstairs, my man was like, yo, I'm sorry, like, I don't know what happened. So he was like, this is what we're gonna do. You got the BU meetup, so we'll just get you, you know, sweet Lincoln, some kind of Lincoln, mid truck, you know, I'm like car, SUVs, got in the Lincoln, dropped me off, get back, see, my man waited for me, they paid for it, sweet, right? I get back, my man was like, yo, little man from last night made a mistake and took your key to the crib. So we call him, he's on his way back with the keys. Nah, I'm like, yo, I'm good. Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, whenever he get here, I'm not going nowhere no time soon. I get to me and Didi leave, you know, we go to Disney, we come back, they got fruit, you know, in the room. They got the little, you know, letter. They're sorry, they apologize. If there's anything I need while I'm here, they gave me a free lunch, you know, the whole nine. So They get the Gazelle. My man did the ET, and I'm not even mad at little man because I know I would do some dumb stuff
no
like
doubt.
that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even mad. But little man took the keys home that night because again, that's the only problem I hate with the remote start board or the keyless board. That's the only challenge that I have with it is for real, bro. Like you can start it without the key. There's no telling what I'm gonna do with the key, bro. I even had a hookup once where I dropped Didi off at Myers, and I drove all the way down, Carl, to the Chase Bank. And I got out, cut the car off, and I was like, yo, Didi. I had to walk all the way to the Myers, see? The only good thing was it was the dead of the summer, so the weather was beautiful. You know, in Michigan, 70-something.
Yep, crazy enough, me and Jalen had that situation not that long ago, right? So I had Jalen drop me off at the airport. He was in my truck. And some kind of way, I just had it in my pocket. And so Jalen drops me off, and I'm getting ready to go through security. You already know, everything out your pockets into the bin.
Wow.
I grabbed the key. I was like, yo. I stopped what I was doing. I called Jalen right there, like, don't cut the car off. Don't cut the car off. He's like, what? I was like, don't cut the car off, because I got another spare key at home. I'm like, yo, drive straight to my crib. There's another key. Because if you stop it, of course, it ain't going nowhere. And it was when we had that little bitty snowstorm. So he was all the way on Camp Creek. I was going through security. He was like, yo, why am I sitting at the pump, at the gas station, about to cut the car off and pump the gas like right this second? I was like, bro, just go to the crib. So he was like, all right, bet. So he made it back to the house and got the key. But yeah, no, it's crazy.
See, I ain't want to say this one. I ain't want to say this one, but I got to say it because you know what I'm saying? I don't want to make the Ritz look bad, but I told you, I either go with the Tahoe or I go with the Imp. Like I love the Imp, bro, in terms of, because I drove it from Orlando to Miami, so it's got a great drive. It doesn't waste a lot of gas.
Right.
So I pull up with D at the Ritz, like maybe the second day, right? We pull up. I got the Imp, and I got the my jeans on with my baseball cap. I pull up. My man says to me, the Uber section is over here. Who are you here to pick up somebody? And I was like, no, I'm not here.
I was about to ask you, what's it like? What's it like? me and Carl on the road staying at the Dirty Santa Inn. And he at the Ritz-Carlton. I'm trying to see what's it like. I never been to the Ritz myself. You know what I'm saying? Just
hey, the Santa Inn is better.
I got one in. See, I got lucky on one trip and got one in.
Not Carl.
Carl
knows.
Seen you act like this.
Knows. Him and Tamisha roll with me and Didi consistently, so he stays pretty much where I stay. Now, C might be different because he decides to come and go. He don't want to stay because of the shortage.
Let me tell you something. They'll ban us so quick from the Ritz. If little Trey get in that joint, he done ruined the whole ambiance in the Ritz. Yeah, we ain't having that. Yeah, so no. So seriously though, what is the Ritz like for those of us who've never had the pleasure?
It's like the W. You stayed at the W, It's
never
the W. That's when we did the conference.
Holiday Inn Express
in Miami.
As far as I go.
Nah, you ain't never.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, y'all know
if anybody wants to know the downside to being Scottie Pippen, it's the Dirty Santa Inn.
Let's see get his thing. And he got to get excited some other way. Let's see get it out.
He ain't got nothing else to
in
do.
Atlanta. He ain't got nothing to do.
You're right. I don't have nothing to do. My kids home. We can be on this podcast for 4 hours. Let me tell you something. I do. So listen, I got a fair file for y'all. And this was like probably an hour-long heated debate on fair or foul. We went to the beach MLK weekend like we always do with some friends, and they were like, yo, they listened to the podcast, so they were like, yo, we got the perfect fair or foul, and we want to hear you, E, and Carl weigh in on it, and even some, listeners if they want to submit. So, my buddy, his wife just had a baby, a couple months ago. And of course, like, women, when, my wife, same way. I don't know if y'all wives were the same way, but after they had the baby, they may be feeling less attractive, right? They went through a lot of emotional time, and all that. So my wife went through it. I'm not going to speak for every woman. Maybe some women didn't feel that. But this young lady, my boy's wife, she had the same feelings Candace felt. She didn't feel like she was in the best shape or didn't feel as pretty as whatever. So I guess she was saying that, you know, a couple times she had like really dressed up, put her makeup on. You know, she was on maternity leave, so she didn't really have a reason to get dressed to leave the house. And she like put her makeup on and got her hair done and did everything and like got real fly. And my boy came to the crib and, you know, just, hey, honey, how you doing? Just kind of walked past her and did his thing. So he did it once, he did it twice. And on the third time, she was dressed up, you know what I'm saying, looking good. She like, okay, for sure he gonna say something this time. So he came in, of course, didn't say nothing, and she went off. And she was like, yo, I've been, you know, dressing up, you know, looking nice for you. You haven't even said anything. So now, of course, you know, she feeling bad, self-esteem low, you know, the whole nine. So he's like, shoot, my bad. You know, he was like, oh man, I did notice, I just didn't say something. I had stuff going on, blase, please. So then it happens again, and of course, again, he forgets. So he decides this time he was gonna do something about it. Now, I say this is fair. So he sets a reminder in his phone to tell his wife that she's beautiful.
These phones.
So he sets the reminder in the phone, tell your wife she looking good today. The reminder is in his phone, and all is well. He's doing a great job for about 3 weeks. And then, unfortunately, left his phone sitting out. His wife saw his phone, and then on the reminder screen on the top of the phone, it said, tell your wife she looks pretty. And she was hot, and she said, that is foul, 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 foul. Candace agreed that it was super foul. And so we're sitting at the beach house the other night having this long debate over whether it is fair or foul for him to set a reminder to tell his wife she looked pretty. What's your opinions?
So, I am all day, so I'm going to say it like this. I am all day fair, all day fair, all day fair. But I do understand the perspective of the wife. I understand that. You want it to be something that's organic and my man saw you and you this moment or whatever. But I'm just saying, as a husband and somebody that got to control the temperature of my house, I prefer to, you know, go that route and have the reminder and get it done than not get it done at all. You know what I'm saying? By any means necessary. I'm going to control the temperature of this house. So I'm all that fair.
Okay. So, yeah, I just asked, you know what I'm saying? I had the privilege of doing the podcast right next to Dee Dee. So I was like,
Dee, ugly. It's about to get ugly.
I was like, Dee, what you think? You know, and of course she said with Carl. So I just wanted a female perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, so of course she said, for real, it should be organic. Now I don't know that it's not organic. See, when somebody else, I don't know that it's not organic. It was an organic reminder. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take away from the sincerity of it because you reminded yourself of it. But Dee Dee said it should be like food. Food, you don't have to remind yourself. You don't have to have a daily reminder to eat. You feel what I'm saying? So she threw a little jab in from my boy. Right hook, jab.
Let me tell you the perspective I was going with. One, I tell my wife, you always been fine. That's in your little head that you ain't looking fine. I said, okay, I don't mind telling you every day. I really don't. But it's stating the obvious. So excuse me for not like over remembering when you look finer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still looking fine to me. You never wasn't looking fine. So every day I'm saying you look fine. Guess what? In other news, water's still wet. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we know. And so if you want me to, if I have to like go out the way to say it in some special kind of romantic way, and I need a reminder, then cool. But I never said that you wasn't looking good. That was some foolishness you made up in your own head.
In your head.
That's what I'm saying. So for me.
See, and that's why I was struggling too, because you know, Dee Dee had Jalen and Jada. She was 24 and then 26. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So at first I was like, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because she was younger. So it wasn't that deep. You know what I'm saying? But I did ask her, and that's what she said. Hold on, she got something personal.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. Make sure she on the mic, E. Make sure she on the mic.
Oh yeah. No, let me stop the debate so y'all can move on to the next segment. I have a reminder on my phone to take my medicine every night. I've been taking this medicine for like 3 years. You know why I have a reminder on my phone? Because I don't like to do it. But I don't have a reminder on my phone to get the Pillsbury dough cookies when I go to Walmart and to bake them at 7 o'clock p.m. nightly.
Ouch.
You don't have to remind me. You know why? Because I really enjoy doing it.
Okay. So double foul. So flagrant
Double
foul.
foul.
See?
Flagrant
foul.
injection. You got ejected.
Ejected. Wow. Yep. No. Hey, I was just trying to see. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a clever way for my
question.
man to.
Yeah,
you know what
I
I'm
did
saying?
too.
Like, yo, I'm gonna just.
I did too. And it would have been sweet if he didn't get caught. See, he messed
sure.
up. See,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
got
that
caught.
wasn't good.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
He got caught,
Yeah.
bruh. He forgot to remind himself not to get caught.
I mean, but some dudes just never say it. You know what I'm saying? Some dudes will be like, all right, she tripping.
No question.
Let me just roll up. I'm like, you gotta give my man some credit just for being like, yo, okay, remind yourself.
Hey, it's level 1. It's level 1.
Exactly.
He started at
But
level
see,
1.
here go the thing, and this is why you can't win. Because I tell my wife she look beautiful every day. Because every day I get the kids, I'm downstairs, she upstairs getting ready for work. Boom, she come down. I say, dang, you looking good today. You know what I'm saying? Like I say it every day. But my wife say, oh, you say it too much, so it's never like. No, I'm dead serious. This is what she said.
Wow,
She said, you say
Don't
it too
mean
much,
nothing.
so like when I get extra sweet, then it's not nothing special. You know, when you say it. Because I was like, yo, I say it every single day. And she knows. She acknowledged it. She like, yep, you do. She was like, you say it every day when I come down from work. And I was like, okay, what's the problem? She was like, it's overused and not just feel mundane. I was like, okay, I can't.
Overused. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you can't. I can't win for losing.
You can't win. Michael Jackson said, you can't win, child. In the Wizard of Oz.
I'm
In
talking
the
about her. I
Wiz.
was
you
like,
can't
all right,
win,
cool. So I
child.
don't know what. So I'm at a loss over here. I ain't even need no reminder. I was telling this was somebody else. I was telling my girl she look good every day. But apparently it's overused.
Now, I will tell you this, though. Overuse it, because when you stop,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
you don't want to be on that side
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that's
so
a
let's
better side to
continue
be
overuse
on. That's
it.
real.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
not
real.
at all. All right, so, man, shout out to our sponsor, Organifi. Listen, man, I can't even tell you how many people using the Organifi. Shout out to Elijah, who's on the Organifi Heavy, him and Jen, who said, man, they've been using it for a while now. Jen to cut back on the coffee. She doing her thing with the Organifi. Elijah just reordered, man, and he's doing great with it. Listen, man, the super food killer. I'm talking about it's next level, man. All your superfoods in one drink, man. And people hitting me up saying, man, CJ, you right. It actually tastes pretty solid. Like, it's not like, you know, hold your nose, plug your nose and drink it. It's actually a good tasting, beverage. I drank 2 or 3 of them because my kids been snotty nosed and trying to have me come down with a little cold over here, but I refuse and I'm fighting it off with the Organifi, man. Feeling good, feeling energized. I know you guys are on it as well. You definitely got to stay on it up there in Michigan because of that weather.
Yeah, it's no question. Yeah. Hey, I hit Sean, not to cut you, but I hit Sean this week. Like, yo, Sean, I was trying to look at some vitamins and stuff just to make sure. Again, we in Michigan. And Sean hit me back. And again, y'all know who I'm talking about. Sean, our resident health guru. Sean said to me, dude, kill all that. And I was like, what you mean? He's like, bro, you taking Organifi. Like, you don't need none of that stuff. Like, you just keep on your Organifi like you've been. And trust me, you got all the vitamins and nutrients that you need right now.
Yeah, and shout out to
I ain't even think
shout
about
out
it
to
like
all
that.
the people who email in saying y'all finally broke me on the Organifi. I hear y'all talk about it every week, and now I love
It's
it.
real, y'all.
So go to Organifi.com, ORGANIFI. Use the promo code SUCCESS. All right, use our promo code, man, and get a discount at the checkout. Try the other products as well. Shout out to Organifi, a great partner in this podcast experience. All right.
Yeah, I didn't know if I should put up this pic. See, yesterday, I was like, it might be an overkill. I always have to ask C. I was gonna put it up on the group. I mean, on the stories. But I was rushing, and I was in the car yesterday. I was rushing, so I didn't have like a cup and all that. So I got a cup when I was downstairs, and I literally was like, not texting and driving, but mixing Organifi and driving. And so I recorded it. I'll send it to you. And I was like, maybe C may not want me to, but this might be too much advertisement to put up on my stories. But yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But
I'll
he
send
can't do
that to
nothing
you.
on his Instagram with somebody. You gonna have some type of police on your
something
head.
happening.
Yeah, you done tried to kill the baby with maple syrup. So you already know. So shout out to them, man. Organifi, a true partner in this podcast. Real quick, man. It's the new year. We 17, 18 days in, and I know we got some people falling like dropping like hotcakes.
Like
you know what I'm
flies.
saying in terms of their New Year's resolutions. One of the things, E, that you've been on heavy, man, and you've been sending me pics every time I call you. You working out, you doing what you're supposed to be doing. Real quick, man, and I know we don't have a ton of time, but can you walk us through just some of the consistency stuff that you on to start this new year? Because it's crazy, man. People been hitting me like, yo, I was in the gym, I would stay for about a week and, 2 weeks. And I know we talked about it before, like, trying to create something and make it a habit. But one of my favorite quotes is discipline kicks in when motivation wears off. And you're not going to feel motivated all the time. But if you discipline, you can make that happen. And a young man came to me, he was like, man, he's like, I could start it and, I don't always stick with it. And it's hard for me to do like on a daily basis. And I asked him, I was like, let me ask you, what do you do on a daily basis? He was like, oh, well, I'm like, do you brush your teeth? He was like, yeah. I was like, every day. He was like, every day. I was like, you don't have, there's not a day where you just like, you don't feel like it. He was like, no, I brush my teeth every day. I'm like, rain, sunshine, whether you feel good, you might be sick, you brush your teeth. He's like, I brush my teeth every day. And I was like, because you did it for so long, it's become a discipline. So it doesn't matter how you feel, you brush your teeth. And I was trying to explain to him that any routine or habit that you want to kick in.
That's my problem. It's not a discipline. That's the problem. I always wonder what the toothbrush ministry, like, what was my problem? That's it right there. I'm not disciplined.
But if you think about it, like I said, there are things that you can, if you do it every day, after a while, like I told him, I was like, yo, I don't feel like going to the gym every day. Like that's not like, but my feelings have nothing to do with the matter. They literally have nothing to do with the matter. I drop my kids off, my car just turns left out of the parking lot towards the gym. Like it's not even it's never a decision. Like you take it out of your feelings' hands, right? Because we talk about it. Like your feelings gonna lead you anywhere. Like your feelings gonna have you, 500 pounds sitting on the couch, eating Twinkies, watching Jerry Springer. Like, yo, but your discipline kicks in and you say, okay, this is not about what I want to do. This is about what I have to do and about what is in me. And so just for those people out there struggling, man, to make something a habit, whether it be the diet, the exercise, telling their wife they look pretty every day. Like, can you give us some tips, E, just because you are, insane about your routine. And, I've been hitting you the last few days, and no matter whether you're in Disney or LA or wherever, it seemed like you allow yourself to stay in the habit and in the routine of doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, well, I think for me, I don't do anything that I can't sustain. And I think a lot of people, man, they start way too big. People like, I'm losing 100 pounds.
By Friday.
Like, wow, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. It didn't take you a month to gain all that weight. Now it might have been fun gaining it, but you didn't gain 100 pounds, in 30 days. So you darn skippy not about to lose 100 pounds in 30 days. And I think what happens when you do yourself like that, you're operating first off all of this energy, you hype, you excited. And then once you don't see, you get on the scale and you don't see it. Now you might be losing inches, or you might be gaining stamina, which is very critical when you start talking about working out and exercising. Like you might pick up stamina and you're growing in a lot of ways. Like mentally, you might be stronger. Like you might be able to work out 4 days a week versus just one. But because you're not seeing it on the scale, you're thinking that you're not progressing. And guess what? For all of us, if you're studying hard and you're still getting D's, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're like, shoot, I'm getting what I was getting when I wasn't studying. So why should I study? So that's what I steer far away from. I don't have these like unrealistic expectations. Like I'm 47 years old. So there are certain things I don't have up to this point that I'm probably never going to get. You know what I'm saying? If I waited 47 years to get a six pack, I'm probably not going to get no six pack. So let's just keep the gut down. You feel me? So let's just try to do practical stuff. So I'm not going to get a gym membership because I travel too much. It's the winter in Michigan. I'm not about to go outside at -4 degrees and go run and get back in the cold and catch pneumonia. Like I'm not about to do it. So I asked myself, E, what can you do? What's measurable? What can you do? I'm in the mall with Didi on the reg. I can walk. And this is what I read. I'm just being real with you guys. I read somewhere that if you walk 10,000 steps a day and have a fairly decent diet, that you can actually lose weight by walking. And I'm just being real. I can walk for the next 40 years. I may not be able to run for the next 40 years. I don't know. I know that they say running is not necessarily the greatest for your knees and your joints, right? So I can walk every single day, and walking is not hard. So I'm on the phone enough. I'm in the mall with my wife. I gotta go eat. So Didi say we pay for our meal. So if it's, 3 miles and under, we go walk, to go eat. And then we walk back. So I'm just saying, like, you gotta do stuff that's measurable. So I think I walked 30,000 steps the other day, and it was all walk. I didn't do any running. Whatever that day was, I don't remember what it was, and then the day we went to Disney, I think I did about 25,000 steps in Disney. We just walking. But I'm being very intentional and deliberate, about my walk. Get up early in the morning, walk. Afternoon, walk. At night, I do a walk. So for me, guys, it's just, it's just sustaining. And like C said, I'm not going to lie, the last 3 days, it was 3 days, but two days, I ran 30 minutes. So I ran about 3 miles. And then today I was about to run. I had walked maybe 3 miles, and I was about to run. And then you hit me up and was like, E, let's hit this podcast real quick. And I was like, shoot, okay, I can't run 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? If I got to do this podcast. So I did the intervals you told me to do, the sprints, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So cool, I can do that. I don't do that every day. So I was like, all right, do the sprint, boy. Put on my little Eminem, you know what I'm saying? Ran my little, I had enough time to do about 4 or 5, and then boom, I'm out. So I'll just say, guys, stop doing stuff you can't do every day. And what I think my secret to success is, when you look at TGIM, you look at our podcast, you look at, our stories, we're just consistent. And I think it's better to be consistent. Like, you walk so many miles for, eat right. I can do push-ups right here in my hotel room. I'm not able to do my pull-ups and chin-ups. The last couple of hotels I went to didn't have it, but they had dumbbells, so I could, whatever, the alternative to that is, I did that. And guys, if you do that every day for 5 or 6 years, I think you'll do a much better job than the person who goes hard January and February and they don't do nothing else, for the next 10 months, or they kind of like, a little bit here, a little bit there. I just think if you're consistent and you do it over a long period of time, you'll get greater results.
Let me ask you this, E, C, either or. Do you think some people have I don't know what to call it, so forgive whatever term I come up with, but a mental, disposition, something that allows you to do it easier? And I'll tell you why I'm asking. So I started doing the pull-ups. I got the little pull-up bar in the house. And, of course, your kids is crazy. Whatever they see you do, y'all. Whatever they see you do.
Yeah.
So my daughter's 3 years old now. My son is 5. And they're both now like, yo, we doing pull-ups every time. So it's right there in my bathroom. So every time they brush their teeth, like we'll bring them in there, they brush their teeth, whatever. And they want to do pull-ups now. So get the difference, though. And that's what I'm asking. Is there some kind of mental advantage that some people have over other people?
Yeah,
my son,
TJ.
Right, yeah, there it is. But no. So get this. So my son, you know what I'm saying? They're not really doing pull-ups. I'm doing all the work. I'm lifting them jokers. So I was able to convince my son to just do 10 every day. And he's cool with doing 10 every day. He'll do it morning, evening. He'll knock 10 out, and he's good. My daughter got peed off. She wanted to do, listen carefully to what I'm saying. She wanted to do one more each day. And I'm just sitting there like, what in the devil is this little girl made of? She wants to do one more every day. So they started at the beginning of the year. I don't know what today's date is, but every single day. So she's at about 16 or 17 now. And she keeps track of the number. I don't even know how. She's like, yesterday I did 15. Today I got to do 16, Daddy. 3 years old. And she's up there. And again, I'm doing all the work. So I'm trying to convince her to come back to 10. I'm like, no, you ain't got to do 16. Your brother doing 10. She's like, no, I did 15 yesterday. I'm trying to do 16 today. Tomorrow's 17. I'm just, of course, she's going to cap out at some point. But I'm just trying to figure out, is there some kind of advantage that some people have over others? Because some people just make it look easier. I could tell my son 10. I could have told that dude 5, and he probably would have done 5 and been chill. What is it? Is there something in other? And again, y'all may or may not have the answer.
I would argue to say that there are people who can easier, that's easier for them to tap into the intrinsic. It's easier. There are others who the intrinsic is there, but they don't necessarily tap into it the same way. And I argue that Jada, like Jesse, does not require you to push her as much, right? But I will tell you this: while you have to maybe assist Jalen, or something has to happen to Jalen to make Jalen go intrinsic, once he goes intrinsic, his beast mode is greater than her beast mode. You feel what I'm saying? Like once he goes beast mode, he has a higher level of beast mode than she does. But there has to be you have to aggravate it. You know what I'm saying? You have to stir it up. You feel what I'm saying? You have to invoke it. But Jada, it just seems that it's a natural thing that she just like, yo, I gotta go beast mode. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because I want people to be cautious. Just because something is not automatic does not necessarily mean that it does not exist, that it's not prevalent. It is. It may mean that you got to crank that thing up. Me and my boys, when we used to have the stick shifts back in the day, you'd have to push those suckers and you just get them going. You know what I'm saying? But whereas if you had an automatic, you just turn that sucker on its own. But the danger is if the automatic is not automatic, Carl, you can't get it to start. Whereas with the stick boy, even though it wouldn't start automatic, there's another way to get it going. You know what I'm saying? And with some momentum, it could get going. So I just want to be cautious because I don't want nobody saying, Carl said that. And yeah, you're right, Carl. I don't have it. I'm not going to do it. Right. That's why I said for us, because I'm not really into health. Like I'm not a health guy. I would prefer to eat all the time and chill. But what happens is, for me, I don't like going to a conference and having a group of people who are inspired by our work say, oh man, ET ain't the brand. ET ain't doing what he said. You know, I don't like to see my wife, who's a foodie, go on the extreme, you know what I'm saying, and end up, ruining her health in the long run because we don't have discipline. And I'm like, okay, let me do what I got to do to help us to find this balance. So I don't like working out. I don't like school, but I must be honest and say, I do love results and I love accountability. So sometimes I think, and I told C, I'll tell you, he called yesterday and I was running. What was the first thing I said, C, when you called me and I was running? What was the first thing I said, if you remember?
I'm running.
Yeah, but what did I say to you? What was the date I gave you?
February 4th.
February 4th, Carl, which is the conference, which is our first takeover conference. And so in my mind, I'm like, yo, E, when you get to the conference, bro, you need to look a certain way. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I didn't have a conference for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? I had no Christmas conference. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no January 1st conference. So I was chilling a little bit more. Like I said, even though I was enjoying my family, I probably would have had a little bit more of a governor had I had an event or I had something to do. So you could judge me and say, oh, E only working out because he got an accountability group. Willie Moe Jr. and I send our stuff to each other every day. Well, you can say that if you want to. What I'm telling you is my workout, what is it, Carl? Like motivation is not naturally there. And so I have to set things up in my environment to aggravate it. But once it's aggravated, shoot, it's on at that point.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. I'm just thinking out loud. Do you think it's possible to have discipline in certain areas and not others, or do you think you have to be a disciplined person?
Question. No, I don't think so. See.
I'm just saying, because you see, like sometimes you see people who not disciplined and they're not disciplined in any area of their life. And then you see people like who super disciplined and it's like I look at like, Carl, your dad is a pretty disciplined dude.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, and it's like it transfer over into every single part of his life. You know what I'm saying? Then you got some people, I guess, who got mad discipline in one area, but then another area they just blew out the frame.
Yeah, I just say it's levels. I don't know where you're going to eat, but I'm just saying it's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, when you say my dad, yeah, every area of his life, bro. I'm talking about he want to go to bed. And like to a fault to me, and I'm saying, he living his life. I ain't mad at it. To a fault to me, like my dad is going to bed. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve, Christmas night. Like he trying to go to bed by 8:30 every single night. because he wants to get up at a certain time every day. It doesn't matter what is going on outside. I'm talking about the whole family downstairs. We about to have a movie, whatever. He like, I'll see y'all tomorrow. And I'm like, bro, we about to, and he just like, okay, cool. If y'all want to hang out, we can do it tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock when I'm up. Like, I'm just saying, he's just disciplined throughout. You're right. But then you're right. See, there's some people that's mad, like, into health. But then, you know, there's just other areas, like you're saying, there are other areas of your life that you just, like, you can't keep up with paperwork or so, whatever. I'm just making stuff up. Like, I mean, he is an example.
Dirty Santa.
You, like, when it comes to, he didn't want to mess with Dirty Santa. See, he went to bed. He didn't want to mess with it. But no, you talked about it. There was a time where, for real, you weren't doing no paperwork. When it comes to speaking, whatever, it was done. Like, you had discipline. Right. You was doing your research. But when it comes to sending that 1099 form, whatever, at first it wasn't something important. You know what I'm saying? So I think
still not
as
important.
You grow, it's still not that important for E.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Is it just like you disciplined in the areas and stuff we want to do? You know what I'm saying? Like Diddy said.
I think that's level one.
Say,
yeah, I think that's level one.
Yeah, I do, Carl. That's it. But like I said, see, I'm disciplined in terms of, all right, now I have to get that paperwork in so I can get my check. But don't let me, like, I'm not trying to seem like Superman. I'm not trying to seem like this perfect dude. I'm not into paperwork. I'm not. But it's a means to an end. And so it's like Carl said, the first level is you just discipline at what you like and what you enjoy. Mm-hmm. The second level is you're disciplined at things that are that if you don't do it, see, it's gonna mess up what you enjoy. You feel what I'm saying? And then you look at Carl's father, it just seemed like for whatever reason, he just disciplined in everything. And I feel Carl's father, and I'm gonna say this, I could have easily stuck with my regiment, my workout regiment, my sleeping pattern, my diet. I could have easily stuck with that during the holidays, but it wouldn't have been no fun. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and why did I have a family if I'm not going to enjoy them? Oh. You know what I'm saying? And why have holidays if we're not going to? And I saw one of my little homies from Australia. He hit me up because I was at a baby shower and I got a piece of cake. And I was like, yo, I'm at this baby shower, I'm about to hit it. And he said, and I listen to me, I understand what he means 100%. He said, it's always gonna be an excuse. And it is. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like, yo, if I go heavy on working out, what do I gain if I look like this perfect specimen in terms of my body, but I lose all my relationships in the process, Carl? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, it's like, yo, you gotta have a balance. And so it's like, yep, I did hit the cake. Yep, I did. While we didn't necessarily do, a lot of, like meats or anything during the holiday, did he cook without? We did eat the traditional meal. Like, so on the first of the year, we do greens, black eyed peas, potato salad. We didn't do macaroni and cheese this year. We had candy yams, so we modified, Carl. We didn't have the chicken we normally have. Yep.
Oh, that's E and Didi life.
Yep. Well, Didi has this thing where the new year, and it's superstition, but it's our thing and it works. But she cooks a certain meal every year on the first, and it's supposed to represent luck, represent money, et cetera. So Didi and I both said it.
That's
like,
why I ain't
do we not
staying
do
at
it
the
this year?
Ritz-Carlton. I'm eating different stuff every year on the first. No wonder I'm at the Dirty Santa Inn.
He ain't staying at the Ritz-Carlton.
Unbelievable. I could have been at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah. Didi said you eating pastrami
Taco Bell on the first. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta switch
Taco
it
Bell. I'm eating cheesy gordita crunch on the first. Trying to figure out why I'm broke.
You need to switch that up, see. And I'm just saying though, Carl, for real, we could have easily said, Carl, yo, we not doing that. We doing the vegan. We could have easily said that. But bro, here's my deal. I believe this, see, and again, I could be wrong. It works for me. It may not work for everybody. But bro, the 365 days, Carl, I feel like if I'm consistent 340 of those days, 345, for me, I've had a lot of success doing it this way. So we did do what we did, but we here now, Carl. You remember the hotel where we're staying, and they have the restaurant at the on the second level. But now we back to the tempeh, barbecue sandwich, the avocado salad, the quinoa beets with we back to that, Carl.
Really
but we weren't doing that. It's on,
sure,
bro.
yeah.
Carl,
So
I'm
what
saying.
I said, E? Oh, so go ahead. You go ahead. Finish.
No, I was just saying what C said. It's right here. It's not like you in Lansing and you got to go look for it. In Cali, bro, it's easier to do this, C, than it probably is to eat junk food when you're in Cali.
Right. Yeah, because people own that. So what I said is my brother used to say it a lot. See, when you set boundaries, and he was talking about like raising kids, he's like, man, let's just say you set these boundaries, whatever, whatever perimeter around them. Dude, once you come outside of that boundary, like once you live inside these boundaries for a long time, dude, 2 millimeters outside the boundary feel like freedom. So in terms of discipline, it spills over because like you eat this way for 340 days, bro, one piece of cake and one scoop of ice cream, you felt like you just had a high out of this world. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even that deep. Like in terms of the consistency that you've had. So I'm saying that's how the discipline
potato salad tastes like chicken.
Right, you eating potato salad
tastes like chicken,
mayonnaise,
bro.
Mayonnaise
I'm
got
just
you
being
drunk,
real.
Bro.
I'm being real,
got
bro.
You tipsy.
I was drunk. I was drunk off the potato salad.
Yeah, so that's I think that's how discipline can start to spill over because you've done this thing consistently for so long, and like he said, you've had success with it. You are seeing some kind of result in your body, your health, your money, whatever, your marriage. Now, okay, let me just apply this little bit of a boundary around this other, and that's all it is. You're just putting some boundaries around this area of your life. I'm just not going to eat when I want, what I want, how I want no more. I'm not just going, whatever. You could apply it to whatever circumstance in your life, but just putting those boundaries allows you now that when you come out of that, you're never going to go as far as you used to because you've now set a new norm for where your expectations are, where everything, where it falls in this. I don't know if you remember that sermon that you preached. See, I think you referenced it on the podcast about the horses. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yep.
How you got some horses that just live like on the edge of the boundary. Like you looking over, you got like 40 acres inside the doggone fence. But my man over the edge, I'm just saying, like, we just got to flip that. Live in the middle, doggone it. It's 40 acres. You got enough stuff that you could do to be happy. You got enough stuff that you could do to make your family life good. You got enough stuff that you can do. You know what I'm saying? Don't live on the edge. I'm going to go somewhere. Don't accept that Facebook request. Don't accept that extra text message. You know what I'm saying? Don't live on the edge because now once you start getting comfortable over there, the boundary got to go a little further. And the boundary got to go a little further. And now all the discipline that you may have had or you've been working towards is gone. So just, stay away from that fence. Stay away from that fence.
Get your butt back in the pasture.
Just before we jump into our next segment, we got to introduce our second sponsor, guys. This is a new one, y'all. Let me get a sound effect, Will. This segment is brought to you by Casper. Casper products are cleverly designed to mimic human curves, providing supportive comfort for all kinds of bodies. With a breathable design, the Casper helps you to sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night. And you guys remember talking to Sean about, just tips on sleeping smarter and being, having cooler ambient temperatures is one of those, simple little tips that could ensure a better night's rest. You can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial. With over 20,000 reviews and an average of 4.8 stars across Casper, Amazon, and Google, Casper is becoming the internet's favorite mattress. Casper also offers a wide array of other products like pillows and sheets to ensure an overall better experience. They're delivered right to your door in a box, guys. They're so small, you're just sitting there wondering, how is it even possible to fit a mattress in there? It's free shipping and returns in the United States and Canada. So, of course, as listeners to our podcast, we got that extra perk for you guys. So get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting Casper.com/STS and using that same promo code STS at checkout. Terms and conditions may apply. Let me do that last line again. Get $50 toward select mattresses by visiting Casper.com/STS and using that same code STS at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Anything else y'all want to say on that before we jump into Ask ET?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's see. We got a bunch of questions. Clarice in Virginia said, hey guys, love the podcast. ET, how has your perspective on success changed as you've grown?
I think it's broadened to just to more people. You know, I think in the beginning, you know, when you're trying to get to a place of success, you think, man, what can I do to get myself and maybe my immediate family, if you will, or maybe even my extended family, you know, to that next level. But when you get to where I am now, I so respect Dr. Martin Luther King and the work that he did. You know, here's the ultimate sacrifice that a man is using his influence, his education, you know, his passion has become the people. And so I think that's the difference now. I'm saying, okay, it's good that, you know, Carl and I get to stay in the Ritz and C in the Holiday Inn Express. How can we move C up to the Ritz?
How can we get C up there for next year?
To the Ritz. You know what I'm saying? And another group of people.
I
to
bet
the
you ain't got
Holiday Inn
free
Express.
breakfast there, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I bet Ritz ain't got free breakfast. I'm getting free breakfast at the Embassy Suites.
Yeah, you're right.
The Embassy Suites got free breakfast and an omelet station. So who's really winning? You know what I'm saying? Who really win? And I got free parking. You know what's crazy? When you stay at them hotels, it's like when people say, like, you could buy a nice house, but you can't afford the taxes. It's like you could stay at the Ritz, but you can't afford the $100 valet at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what'll kill you. It ain't necessarily the stay. You know what I'm saying? It's the $100 room service charge. Yep, that's gonna get you.
And you gotta eat peanut butter and jelly. You gotta eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring your own bread and peanut butter.
I'm telling you.
Don't even
shout out to the Embassy Suites if you want to sponsor this podcast. I'm with you. Free parking.
Oh man,
$139.99.
We fell in love with the Embassy
By the
Suites.
way, that's where we were staying back in the day.
Yeah, that's where we were staying.
I
back
can
up.
remember,
sure.
bro.
And
I
loving
remember
it.
me and
Oh,
E staying in
loving
some
it.
crazy places on the East Coast. I'm talking about like days in. Like I'm talking about like a one bed, like crazy little.
And you get in from the outside with your key.
Oh
from the
yeah, for
outside.
sure. Yeah.
No privacy. No privacy. My man, right at your car. When you get up in the morning, he on your car smoking a square
right there.
on your rental
Right
car.
there, he like, bro, excuse me. Yeah, and now he at the Ritz-Carlton. Wow, it's been a long time coming.
A long time coming.
But hot breakfast gonna come,
hot breakfast. Hey, the content, like we used to pick hotels based on that.
With the continental
We
joint.
was picking the hotel based
The
on that.
Embassy
Like,
Suite had the best breakfast.
You know what I'm saying?
Embassy Suites had not continental, hot breakfast. The omelet station, bro. They had the omelet. Make your own omelet. Yeah. Oh man, we gotta have a reunion at the Embassy Suites.
I'm down. Hey, we stayed at the Embassy Suites not too long ago, and I think it was it Huntsville?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep.
Huntsville.
Yep,
Yep, that's
that's a
it.
big
We
one
always
down
stay there.
there.
That's where we stay.
Yep.
Yeah, we always stay there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
their
and
Ritz.
They got a roof.
That's
They
their
got a
Ritz
roof
Carlton.
Chris
no
in that
doubt.
joint
Yep.
too.
Right at the bottom. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let me go back. I lost my notes. Y'all was playing too much.
Wow, that's an oxymoron.
I was just thinking, like,
You know what I'm saying? Y'all play too
We
much.
play. Wow.
Simon in New York said,
We stand
said,
corrected.
"E.T., do you still feel pressure?"
You know, not as you would probably say, not like that, not in a negative way, but I do feel the pressure of, you know, when you look at Martin Luther King, especially, like, how long are you gonna live? Somebody called me the other day about memoirs. I was like, what? They was like, yo, E, man, you probably need to start, you know, working on that because, you know, there's some things that you share, praise God, on the podcast. Thanks for C coming up with this creation. He's like, people get to hear and know about you in a way that's unique that you don't when you just do a TGIM. But also if you could do more writing and talk about parenting and talk about, you know, some of your transitions going to school. And I was like, that's deep. So I do feel that pressure to get out as much positivity in the world and in as many forms as I can so that, you know, when my time comes, I would feel comfortable that I've left enough stuff for people who are thinking about, you know, just how people feel inspired by the work that we do to leave as much work as possible, like have volumes of stuff to help them to get through, you know, one level of their lives to the next. So that's the only pressure I feel.
Speaking of Dr. King, we just obviously had Monday, the holiday. we were at the beach, of course, as tradition with, some friends and enjoying some time there. And of course, always speak about the legacy of Dr. King and things of that nature. Did y'all do anything special? We always listen to the I Have a Dream speech. I mean, that's like mandatory. But did y'all do anything special or talk about, I mean, I know we've probably done this however many times we've been on the podcast for Martin Luther King Day, but just talk about Dr. King's legacy, what it's meant to you personally, and how you celebrated the day.
Well, first of all, I celebrated the day traveling. I think this was the first time Didi and I have ever been on the road. So we had like I said, a late morning flight, and we flew from Miami to LA. And I'll be honest, having the opportunity to fly first class, and there was a gentleman. See, you have to help me. I'm not good with all of the latest comics because I don't frequent TV as much as I need to. But this gentleman is on I think it's a cognac commercial. It's vanilla, and he's talking, tall, thin comedian, and then he's talking about whatever the vanilla flavored cognac, and then his suit, he has a tux that turns the vanilla color, and he's also on Kevin Hart's series that he does on BET. I don't remember his name, but Nelly's on there, and this guy frequents the show as well. And he was on the flight, and we were talking, going back and forth, and he was just talking about how he's doing. He did a voiceover for American Dad. He's done some other animated stuff. Of course, he's doing a thing with, Kevin Hart. He's got his own commercials that he's doing, line of commercials. And and the vision that I see is colored, and white, colored bathroom, white bathroom, colored water faucet, white water faucet. And for us to be able to, have the opportunity to fly first class if we choose to, economy, whatever, economy, comfort, it's like we really have an opportunity. It's like people are serving us, and while you guys know I'm real big on serving, it's like, wow, we get an opportunity despite the color of our skin, not to just be servants, in this time frame. That's something that we get a chance to do, but we also get to do motivational speaking, videography, executive coaching, producing, and so here it is in our generation, we have an opportunity to do what only Martin Luther King dreamed of doing. And then of course I was with Jared Robbins yesterday on his podcast, Tony Robbins' son. And, man, Carl knows the family, man. They have been they've been so, they played such an integral part, and just some of the moves we made early on corporately. And then, of course, his wife is a MSU grad, and she's from Detroit. And so, man, just having that relationship with them, and, they were talking about, of course, us doing a trip together, whatever. See, of course, you were with Adam and Carly. And so just to be in a time where, you don't have to be on that, like you can, man, you could be in relationships with people from all walks of life, and not have to deal with that division. So yeah, man, just for me and Didi to be able to go into the schools and give back, and help people go to school, et cetera. I feel like while we're not Martin Luther King, that we took his dream and now, we're championing that dream. And Didi asked me, we listened to multiple Martin Luther King speeches, when preaching, sermons he did, leadership stuff he did, we listened to it, and Didi asked me about the dream. And I was like, yo, D, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm grateful at our age that we are not just talking about the dream, Didi. It's our reality now. Like, our kids went to college. Our son is a college graduate. We own a company, guys. It's like we are literally experiencing the American dream. I have some phenomenal neighbors who live in a phenomenal neighborhood. We got 16 acres of land. We got a 17,000 square foot building, a 10,000 square foot building. We've got plans to renovate. It's like, yo, guys, we to and, you know, and of course there's no perfection, and we're not saying that, you know, we live in a perfect place and racism doesn't exist anymore. But what I am saying is that there are opportunities, and we've decided not to complain, not to fuss, and you know, we've decided to cash in and experience the American dream. And so I'm just super excited. See, I could look at, I felt if Martin Luther King was here and he interviewed us, I think that legitimately he would be proud of us. And he would say, you guys did exactly what, you know, what I envisioned, what I saw. You guys are executing on that. So, yeah, man, we all have advanced degrees. We've been able to go to college. We're not saying that degrees make a man, you know, but some of the things that they fought for, we've actually experienced and we've been able to execute on it. So, yeah, humbled, man, humbled.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with those sentiments. Obviously, you know, me being a mixed race baby, you know, having a white mom and a black father, man, you just, you know, you can't even speak enough about, you know, what he did, you know, to make my life literally possible. And, you know, without him doing what he did, I doubt, you know, I would even be here. So always a very, you know, important, emotional holiday. And, you know, always want to make sure. I did try to get Trey a little bit of the speech, but I looked back about 2 seconds after it started, he was asleep. It was a little
He had
much.
a dream. He
was having a dream, but I make sure I play it.
He had a dream.
I got it in his soul and his spirit anyway. So, yeah, no, shout out to Dr. King, man.
Well, you know, God Dad gonna put it on him. He gonna hear enough
You
of
know
that
what?
kind of stuff.
Listen to this, though. I thought about this yesterday, right? So it was funny because I was listening to some of your speech from, I think, the Atlanta Hawks in the truck. And Trey was like, oh, that's God Dad. And then maybe like a week ago, we saw the Wingstop commercial. We just watching TV. And the Wingstop commercial came on. He was like, oh, that's God Dad, like on TV. And then he sees some of the YouTube stuff, and then he hear like Toby's videos, and like he'll see like Toby's video on YouTube, and then like see us at the conferences and stuff. And I'm like, yo, what he must think in terms of like what the world is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my man, we watching LeBron the other night, and he feeling like he knows LeBron, or like LeBron knows me. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know why he thinks that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not making the connection that it's like, okay, LeBron, you know, they playing over there and they like got their own world and we got our own world. And I'm like, wow, like to him, he's seeing, you know, God Dad on TV. He's seeing us, you know, when he comes to the conferences with a lot of people and people like, you know, want to hear, you know, E speak and taking pictures and all of that. And I think he really like, you know, his world, like what is possible. I'm like, yo, this has got to be crazy. Like when I was coming up, I didn't know anybody who was like on TV or even remotely like, you know what I'm saying? Like videos and like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know how to explain it, but it was just weird because I was like, wow, like what he thinks is possible in his head and how he views the world is a lot different than I think I viewed the world at that age, where it was like if somebody was on TV or something, it was just like, they might as well have been living on another planet, you know, where Trey looking like, oh, okay, this is, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Even with like, you know, the Michigan State players and, you know, the celebrities or athletes that he's met, you know what I mean? He's just kind of like, oh, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, his world is just, it's just different, man. So I thought it was interesting the other day when we were going through that. Let's go. Last question, one more, we'll get out of here. I think I'm next up on daddy duty. To relieve my wife during the snow day. Farah said, hey guys, love the podcast. Have a 9-to-5 and I'm attempting to build my side business, but there just doesn't seem to be enough time in the day. Please help. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Carl, where is he? He might be spending some time in the hole.
Hey, yeah. No, you know what? Yeah, you just said it, see. I think this is, we might just do something different on this podcast. So, like, I don't even want us to answer that.
I mean, and we'll kind of answer it, but, you know, shout out to Jamal, who was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Man, we got, I mean, a ton of feedback from that episode. Of course, Jay is the Chicago police officer turned millionaire, still a police officer, who's just done some incredible things on the south side of Chicago, you know, and philanthropically, and then, you know, of course, building his own empire. And we probably got more emails and calls and things of that nature. And so because we had so many, we actually had Jay on the Breathe You call. And listen, man, the information that came out of that thing.
I thought I knew. Yeah, I thought I
it
knew.
was
Yep.
like it was on a whole nother level. And so you guys listen to the podcast, and our BU students actually get a chance to talk to Jay. He's been, you know, mentoring some people, helping them out. I just talked to Rochelle yesterday. Her and her husband had a call with Jay, and she called and like was almost in tears, and was just like, yo, thank you so much. And, you know, I told her, I was like, man, this is exactly what I pictured when we started BU. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to create like the world's like best network, you know what I mean? Where it was just like, yo, people from all over could just help people, you know, people who, you know, wanted to go to that next level and provide for their family on another level and, you know, get to another level and they, you know, whatever it is, spiritually, like marriage wise, you know, financially. And there was all these resources, and man, I saw that come together in a major, major way. So for those of you who are out there and you're like, yo, what is BU? Like, what do you guys do? Like, that's what we do. It's about connecting people. It's about getting people information, resources. You saw E. He's with it, our BU fam. We just send an email out and tell everybody, yo, E's in your town. Like, we're going out to lunch. We're going out to dinner. And the relationships that come from that are just insane, man. And so not to be a shameless promoter, man, but that's what Breathe You is all about. And that's why we're so passionate about it. That's why we talk about it all the time. I think we can honestly say, E and I were in Atlanta the other day, and we were talking, we were like, yo, that's our biggest professional accomplishment to date, right? Like, that's our biggest professional accomplishment, is being able to have a network of people who are like-minded, who are going to the next level, who are grinding, hustling, who are working together. We got meetups forming. We got, you know, real estate and entrepreneur groups forming, like just an incredible network within BU. And we just thank everybody who's been involved. Matter of fact, Carl, I don't know if this is against the rules or not, but can we maybe put the call with Jay?
Yeah. No, I'm saying there's no, like, you just described it, see, but the way he talked about having a 9-to-5 and being able to build his empire, and I'm using that word intentionally, build his empire, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think we should attempt to answer that call. Yeah, I'll get the audio and just add that to this.
Yeah, put it on the end of the podcast.
Guys,
so what we'll do, guys, we'll put it on the end of this podcast. This is a live BU call. We'll put it up in its entirety. Y'all shouldn't be getting this because this is for our BU fam alone. But since we do a call, you know, a couple calls every week, I guess one call can't hurt. But if you're wondering, if you've been sitting there, you've been listening to us talk, what is BU? What do you guys do? Of course, we got the online network where people are challenging each other. We got all the challenges. We're going to the next level with, you know, fitness and health and all of those things. But this is an example of one of our calls. And you guys heard Jay on the podcast, but then we had him on as a guest and listened to the in-depth information that he gives out on the actual call. People actually get to ask questions, talk to him, the whole nine. So you guys, this is a sneak peek into a Breathe You call. We'll put it at the end of this podcast for those of you who want to take a listen to what we're doing inside BU. And we would love to have you guys join us at Breathe University. Carl, how can they join us? And for those who say, hey, I'm trying to get down, like, I've heard you guys talk about it enough. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of not having a network. I'm tired of blaming the fact that nobody around me is grinding.
Don't give away my
You know
nugget.
what I mean?
Don't give away my nugget. Don't give away my nugget.
Okay, sorry.
The nugget coming in. Before the nugget, y'all. Hey,
That's the nugget.
breatheuniversity.com, y'all. Breatheuniversity.com. I'm talking about, y'all got my email. I've been putting on like 40 podcasts now. If you have any questions, like, I'm serious, we stand by this, guys. We're trying to build something. You just heard what C said. We're trying to build something amazing.
Man, we got authors who are like writing books, and then we got illustrators who are drawing for them. We got, you know, people who've been in real estate, you know, for 10 years, who struggling to get their stuff really, really going, who meeting investors and stuff who live 10 minutes away from them, who are taking them to an entirely new level. Yep. Like, yo, that is the beauty of what we doing. And it's not for everybody, but for those of you who say, man, I need a new network, where else can you pay a limited amount of money and get access to a network of people across the country, across the globe, who are doing big things? We got people traveling internationally and hooking up with BU members, and they putting them up in their country. Like, it's just insane. And you literally cannot get this kind of network anywhere in the world, and it's why we're so passionate about it. And when I got that message that I got from Rochelle yesterday on my phone, like, and her talking about how much it did for her and her husband, and now they're going to be mentoring and coaching with Jay and getting this information. Oh, man, it's incredible. So, yeah, Carl, let them know.
Make sure, y'all, breatheuniversity.com. Again, we got a lot of stuff going on. If you got any questions, hit me, K Phillips, KPHILLIPS at etinspires.com. And that's not a gimmick, y'all. That's my real email. I'm
Straight
checking
up.
it.
Yeah.
All the times. And E said this, see, and I used to trip on E, but E said it. Like, you give it out to the whole world, bro, about 3 people email you with anything. So I'm saying, and literally the last 2-3 times I gave it out, like I'm talking about like 5 people just said anything and respond, like literally 5. So I'm saying, y'all, we not playing. This is my personal email, like kphillips at etinspires.com. Any questions, any reservations, anything you want to know about it, hit me up. I'll talk to you. I'll call you. But we not playing games. We're trying to build a community out here and change. We want to, let me just tie it up. We want to continue the legacy that Dr. King started. We want to make sure we're doing our part to add people to this thing, this community, you know what I mean, and help build something, man, that changes generations to come. So that's what we're trying to do for real.
Cool, man. Listen, man, Friday is the last day to grab your ATL early bird tickets. If you grab your tickets by Friday, you'll save 40%. All right, and we're doing a discount for all the Take Control conferences and a special discount for our podcast listeners. Use the promo code Podcast Loyalty and save an extra 10%. All right, that's only for 1 week only. We added a new ticket option for all the cities that include reserved seating at the conference and dinner with E and the team. So you can come out and have dinner with us.
Where did we go the last
hopefully
time?
somewhere
What was
with
that place
a
we went to
meat
the last
and a
time?
vegan option, because I'm not.
Right.
Where did we go? In Miami?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, we went to that. It was like an Asian restaurant.
Oh,
Was it?
Mr. Childs, yeah. Yeah, so
Mr. Childs,
yeah,
yeah.
so make sure for the Take Control, listen to Entrepreneurship Conference. Shout out to Jay, who will be in the building for that. Shout out to Josh, who will be in the building, myself, Carl, E, Maya. We just got a powerhouse squad coming in, man, and this is the Entrepreneur Conference, the Take Control Conference, take your finances to the next level. We're bringing all the gurus in, man, and we want you to be a part of that. The ATL early bird tickets are coming up, so make sure you grab those. And then Miami, February 4th, Miami, South Beach, we will be in the building, so go to etinspires.com/events and join us in Miami and then ATL, and we in Charlotte, we in a couple other places as well. So excited about those conferences kicking off. Those are extremely fun, man, because man, this, usually about 100 people, and you get direct feedback, right? You get to stand up, ask your questions, get business feedback. We do business builders, help you, generate more revenue. Just get your finances in line with your business, take it to the next level. So we look forward to seeing you all out at the Take Control events. Any other announcements, Carl, that I'm missing before we get out of here and get the nugget of the day?
Nope, you got
all
it,
right,
sir.
cool.
You got it.
Eric Thomas, nugget of the day, my friend.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm gonna stop arguing. I got rebaptized last year around this time, and one of the commitments I made to myself was not wanting something more for somebody, than they want for themselves. So I'm not gonna do a lot of fussing today. I'm gonna make it real simple. Take the risk or lose the chance, flat out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired of, going back and forth with people trying to convince people to take the risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of trying to convince you to take ownership, to stop being a victim and be a victor. Like, for real, I'm tired of wasting energy doing that when I can just get with the people who are taking risk and, trying to get to that next level. So for real, so for those of you who are listening, you felt that there's a glass ceiling, or you always feel like it's something, like it's a reason why you can't do and be and have what you're supposed to have, right? I'm gonna say it to you real simple. Take the risk or lose the chance, right? Fight for your freedom or shut up and sit down, right? Bottom line. And whatever happens to your life, stop complaining about it. If you are not going to be responsible for taking care of your life and you're going to put it in somebody else's hand, you're going to put it in the hand of the person that took the risk, like, for real, just shut up and sit down. Just go for the ride. Stop complaining. You know what I'm saying? But if you want your freedom, if you want to be and have and do everything that you dream of, take the risk, man. It's your boy, E.T.
Appreciate that nugget of the day, E. Carl, thank you, man. Appreciate all y'all listening. Hopefully your New Year's off to a great start. listen to the call, man. We're going to put it up for you right after this. This is the Breathe You call with Jamal King, man. Enjoy it, and we hope to see you over there at Breathe University with us, man. We love you. We'll see you next week.
I want you to focus on here right now. Don't you worry about when you get home. You concentrate on this opportunity. You don't worry about tomorrow. You concentrate on this opportunity with all your might, with all your soul, with all your heart.
Yes, sir. We ready?
All right.
Jay, are you there?
Yep.
Let's go.
You want us to spark us off? I know you got something you wanted to get off, and then
Well, you know what,
I'll take
man?
it when you're done.
And I know, some of our listeners on the call tonight might say, like, E, what's the connection? You know what I'm saying? Help us make the connection. But, what I want to talk about tonight, guys, is something a little, offset. I know when we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about skills, for entrepreneurship specifically. But I want to talk about the BU meetup, and one of the reasons why I thought it was important to have it, I'm sure. Hold on for a second, guys. Yes, sir, I'm ET. How you doing, sir? I love your stuff. Man, I appreciate that, man. Man, I appreciate that.
I'm getting it live again.
Good to meet you. Thanks, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. That's exactly what I want to talk about, relationships. You saw what just happened. A guy probably about, closer to my age. This guy, he just was out of the nowhere, like, yo, is that ET? And that's what it's all about, guys. It's all about building relationships, And so the BU meetup for me today, we, of course, ate breakfast together, but we talked. We talked about 2018, how can I help them? They asked how they can help me. We talked about our promises. We got a video coming out for you guys that I gave all of them an opportunity to kind of talk about what their focus was, their promise to themselves, and building relationships is so deep, man. I probably shouldn't give G's skills or his secret away, but being a part of the BU family, he actually came to breakfast, and when I told him where I was going, he actually blessed my wife and I with free tickets to get in. And while we were on our way in, the guy that's over parking saw me, and that guy was like, E.T., oh, I can't believe it's E.T., and gave us free parking. So the relationship thing is so important, guys. I mean, super important. So while you're, doing business, I want to encourage you to continue to do business. Continue to look at the strategies and the skills necessary to build a business, but don't forget the people. At the end of the day, this is a people business. And like I said, you're gonna get some skills tonight that's gonna prepare you. But it's really like, don't ever forget, you need a website, or you need to be on social media. You need to do this and you need to do that. But don't forget the people, and don't forget why you started and who you started for. So just being with the BU fam, Amanda came up. You could just see the excitement all over Amanda. She's back in school, so you could see that she was super excited about being back in school, and so just man, just to see everybody pumped up, it was just exciting. I met some people for the first time. They couldn't believe, they couldn't believe it. They're like, E.T., I've seen you before. I've never met you. I never believe I could meet you over breakfast. I'm like, yo, y'all, we fam. Like for real, we family. So just had a great time, man. Had a great time.
Yep, love it.
That's it, see. That's it. Relationship.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate the enjoy small world. I already know it was lit. Real quick, man. We have a guest on the line, man, and some of you know him, some of you don't. He was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, man, and the influx of emails and everything else was just crazy. Just to hear his story, hear what he's been working on, and now we get a chance to share it with the world, and more importantly, man, we get to share it right here in our small little BU family, right? And so many people had questions for me, and were hitting me up like, yo, that guy Jamal you guys had on, and let me know, can I get his number? Can I hit him up? Can I this? Can I that? And so I called Jay, and I'm like, man, we need to get some more questions answered as it relates to what you've been able to do. So for those of you who didn't listen to the podcast, I don't want to make the assumption that everybody listens to the podcast, but we have a BU member in our midst who has just been able to accomplish some tremendous things. You know what I mean? From being a full-time police officer to a multimillionaire entrepreneur. He did it through real estate, first. Then daycares. Opened up, him and his wife and him, Camille, they opened up some daycares in the Chicago area on the south side, and then also a security company. Obviously, his police background helped with that. But he was able to build out 3 separate multi-million-dollar companies while still maintaining his full-time job as a police officer. And I know that's one of the main questions we get as entrepreneurs, as thought leaders, things of that nature is, well, do I quit my job? Do I keep my job? And I don't think there's any right answer. I think every entrepreneur is different. But Jay chose to keep his job and still has his job. You're talking about, millions of dollars in the real estate world and still works a job as a police officer for another 11, 12 months, I think, Jay, and then he's going to be retired. Yeah. He's only 40 years old. He's 40, guys, and I was on the phone with him just in preparation for this call and just learning even more. So I told Jay, it's time to start teaching this stuff, and not because I want you to be a speaker or, I want you to, be able to provide a service, but because people need this information. Here is a regular guy who, went to school, played college football. I don't think you had some big time fancy business degree, Jay. I don't think you went to Harvard afterwards. Right. But just somebody who figured it out, guys. And not only figured that out, I got a chance to spend quite a bit of time with Jay and his wife. They came to Michigan. We spent time, and you see him as a family man. You see him as a husband, as a father. And these are all the things that we talk about in BU, right? Finding that balance, striking that perfect balance between being a great entrepreneur and providing for your family at a high level and still being able to maintain these positive relationships with your kids and your wife. And Jay has done that in a way that's just been incredible. And so I've been pushing Jay even before the podcast, but now I'm pushing him even harder just because I see how hungry people are for the information. And I'm like, Jay, you got to be able to teach this thing. Like, you have to be able to talk people through how you became a self-made multimillionaire while still maintaining a full-time job, while still keeping a happy marriage, while still being a great father. Like, people don't think it's possible. And so I've been challenging Jay, and he's been digging deep just in his memory bank and reverse engineering his success. And I'm so happy to have him as a part of the community because now we have a valuable resource right at our fingertips of somebody who can really walk us through how this thing could be done. One of the questions, I was talking to Elijah yesterday, and he was saying, man, one of the questions I had was, about time management and like how he did that and, all of us entrepreneurs. And that's the thing, guys, to be honest, I told Jay, I'm still always blown away by, we have a couple of things going on here, and I think I'm relatively busy. And to build that many companies, with that amount of time and a full-time job, I said, Jay, it would be impressive if you did this with no job. It would be incredible and newsworthy and all of those things. But the fact that you did it while working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, is even more incredible. And so I'm going to let him kind of run through his 3 points that he's been working on, and then I'm going to ask him some questions, and then, of course, we'll open it up to the line. Please have your questions ready. This is a real regular, just like you and I, guy. You know what I mean? Sometimes when we think of people who have great success in these real estate areas and, great success, in business and all of this, you think they're, somebody who's elitist. You think somebody nepotism, somebody got it handed down. Here's somebody who figured it out in his early 20s and has been building his portfolio over this time and is getting ready to retire at the age of 40 and has figured a lot of things out, man, and still, moving and going forward as an entrepreneur. So as he talks, make sure you're taking notes, listening. I'll kind of ask him some questions that I feel are pertinent to what we talk about here on the EBB call, and then I'll let you guys kind of take over from there. We'll take your questions and move forward. So, Jay, are you out there?
I'm there, brother. Can you hear me?
We got you, man. We got you. Thank you. Yeah, yep, we got you, Jay.
All right,
Appreciate you being on, man. Appreciate you again, man. Of course, you ran into a little superstardom on the podcast. That happens from time to time. Josh is on the line. Josh has experienced some of that. People, man, our podcast fam is a small little cult following we got, and we love them, man. And they they are diehards, man, and they always promote the message. We love each and every one of you who listen to the podcast. And for those of you who, like I said, I wanted to set the table for those of you who hadn't heard of Jay, but Jay's been kind of, like I said, he hit me, said, CJ, I'm not a speaker. I'm not a speaker in that sense. And I say, you may not be a speaker, but you got information, bro. And information is what we need. We don't need you to entertain. I don't need you to be as dynamic as ET. You got information that can change lives and set people free. And so, Jay, without further ado, man, why don't you run us through some of the things you've been working on as you look back at your success, bro?
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. First off, man, I appreciate you bringing this up out of me because, up until now, like my circle now, all the police officers that I hang with, family, friends, and close friends of mine, everybody that's in my circle, they own real estate. I don't think it's been one person in my circle that's been around me in the last 5 years and they don't own any kind of real estate. So now with what you've done, CJ, you having me bring my story out and, and bringing it to the world and exposing it to everybody in Breeze View. And my prayer is that everybody gets exposed and they're able to do the same thing. So I appreciate you for that, man. But,
no doubt.
My three, when I sit back and I think over my life and just my journey, the things that I would have to say, and some of the people that might have heard the podcast, the number one thing for me, and I got three of them, but the first was I got exposed. And I know you guys heard, like, when I was playing college football, my whole life I thought I was going to make it to the NFL. When that didn't happen for me, a friend of mine, though, he made it. And he was making $200,000 a week. And I was making $1,200 every 2 weeks being a police officer. And, not to really get deep with that, like I did the podcast, but that was traumatic for me. That kind of, your whole life, you think you're going to be making all of this money. And then all of a sudden, at the drop of a dime, you're just making $1,200, barely enough money to take care of your day-to-day living. And I'm living at home with my parents. It's like I'm living in the house with my parents. I'm not paying a house mortgage. I got a car that's paid for, and this is still not enough money for me. So instantly, man, that kind of had me feeling, some kind of way a long time ago. And then, like I said, my friend, who I was blessed to call a friend at the time, and, he let me into his home and he had me coming around, the NFL type scene. And he showed me what money looks like. He showed me, that $200,000 check that he was making. And it just opened my mind up. Now, keep in mind, I never really wanted to make it to the NFL. I just wanted to be rich my whole life. I wanted more. I wanted to be able, I knew my parents, they both were police officers, and I knew that we lived an okay life. I'm kind of like what you said once before, CJ. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but it definitely wasn't with me. I was comfortable. It was 4 kids, and we was always taken care of, but I knew that I wanted more. I always wanted to be rich. And so I was exposed to that NFL life. I had thought it was things about that kind of exposure that I'll never forget. I remember going out there, man, and people were taking the kids to private schools. And, these kids were getting picked up in limousines and dropped off to school in limousines. Little boys had little neckties. Little girls had these little plaid dresses. This is something totally different from what I was used to and what I was accustomed to in Chicago. Everybody in my circle went to public schools. I went to public school. My wife went to public school. Everybody went to public school. So that exposure to that, seeing these mansions, man, some guys had 2 mansions. 7 bedrooms. It was just swimming pools. I wasn't used to seeing things like that. I used to see their wives a lot of times. They would be going shopping. We'd be out there during the week, and they going shopping during the daytime. They didn't have jobs. They just seemed happy. Everything about that kind of lifestyle to me just seemed happy. And like I said, it wasn't about the NFL. It was more so about what they had. It was about the type of lifestyle they were living. Another thing, before I say it, it's 3 different types of exposure just over my time period, looking at it. You can get exposure from family, and I believe that's why today I became a police officer. I was exposed to that police officer life. I was exposed to that blue collar life. You can get exposure from your friends and the company you keep. Now, that's something that you have all control over. You can control the type of friends that you have and the company you keep. And then that third type of exposure, I believe, is the kind that you get from social media, what you listen to, what you read. And that's something that we're doing now with Breathe You. You guys are exposing yourselves to a different kind of life. Even being on the phone with me or being on the phone with CJ, being on the phone with different people, Josh, ET, that's exposure to a different kind of possibilities and a different kind of world. The next thing that was key for me was creating a new vision. From that exposure that I got, I created a new vision for my life. I had a vision, after I didn't make it to the NFL, I was like, okay, my vision right now is going to be, I'm going to be a Chicago police officer. I'm going to, make sergeant like my dad. And then I'm going to, get promoted. But once I got exposed to that new vision, my whole vision changed. My whole exposure changed. And I saw a different kind of lifestyle for myself. I was able to see the type of house that I wanted. I was able to see the type of school that I wanted for my kids. I was able to see my wife doing that shopping. I was able to see a whole different world for myself. And I think that's what got me hungry. That's what went ahead and said, AJ, you got to come up with something different. Number 3 is finance your lifestyle. What I mean by finance your lifestyle, I don't mean by taking a loan out from the bank. But for me, what I did after I had that exposure, I wrote down every single thing about my life that I wanted. I didn't live in today. I totally went into the future. I said, okay, I want to have a house. I want this house to be 10,000 square feet. How much will this house cost me? So I went and researched these houses. I got a realtor, and my real estate broker showed me these houses. We knew at the time that we couldn't afford these houses, but we still went and we looked and saw how much these houses cost. We wrote down what the mortgage amount would be to this house. I looked at the type of cars I wanted. I was driving a 93 Chevy Blaze at the time, but I still said, okay, I want to drive a 2000 Lincoln Navigator. How much does that cost? So I wrote every single thing down. We didn't have any kids at the time, but I still wrote down how much, how many kids did we want? We wanted 3 kids. I knew exactly, I wanted 2 girls and I wanted a boy. I knew their names. I knew everything. I knew the type of school I wanted them to go to. And then once we figured that out, we looked at the tuition amount of that school. We wrote that down. We put everything together. At the time, that amount came out to $5,000. And then at that point, that's when we started financing our life. How did we finance our life? We started going straight into real estate. At that time, I met a real estate broker, and I was exposed to her through a friend who was already in real estate, and she went and taught me real estate. I didn't have any knowledge in real estate. I didn't take any classes in real estate. I was just a Chicago police officer. What she ended up doing for me, though, she ended up taking me around to the type of property that I could afford right now with my police job. I was only making $36,000. I couldn't really afford anything. But then when she showed me, like, hey, let's identify these properties, and then once you rent these properties out, this is how much money you're going to get back in your pocket. You're going to pay the bank their money, and then you're going to net this amount. And then what I started doing is I had every single bill written down. And then I started from largest to smallest. And then I started eliminating each bill. So once my first property made me, let's say my first property made me $3,500, my house note that I wanted was $3,500. So, okay, cool. This property now, I linked that property to my house note. And that property that building took care of that bill. Then I went to the next property. And then the next property did the same thing for my car note, for my wife's car note. And then on my list, I started adding stuff to it as I started marking stuff off. And I said, okay, I want my wife to be retired. So I bought a property. I asked her, what is her number? What is the amount of money she needs in her pocket every day to feel comfortable? So then I bought a property for that. And then now she was able to chill out and stay at home. And so the next thing you know, my whole list was eliminated. And at that point, I went ahead and then said, okay, I'm going to keep going. And then I bought more property to double that list. And then once that list was doubled, then that's when I started going on the fast track to start buying other properties, buying other buildings, buying other businesses. So for me, my 3 was getting exposed, creating a new vision of yourself, because that's so important. I think people stick on the same vision. You come up with a vision for yourself when you're 20 years old and you just stick with that same vision. Well, maybe you stick with that same vision because your exposure hasn't changed any. You have to, as you grow, your vision is going to grow. And so that's what it was for me, see. So those three, those getting exposed, creating a new vision for me, and then investing in my lifestyle.
Got you. Real quick, so there's somebody on the phone, and they're saying, okay, I got you on the exposure. And maybe you answered it, but, they're saying you kind of got lucky because, in a way, your friends were playing in the NFL, so you got to see that up close and personal. You got to see somebody you knew who was making that kind of money, that kind of, lifestyle. I work at the plant, I work at FedEx, or, I'm just now trying to start my entrepreneurial journey. I don't know anybody I can get exposed to on that particular level. What would you tell them?
See, when I was just talking, when we first started, I was letting them know that nobody in my circle, is not one person that's a close friend of mine within the last 5 years that don't own real estate right now. And I'm in the Chicago Police Department. So you don't have to have friends that's in the NFL, because I'm not even doing what my friend did. He didn't expose me to the NFL. I'm not playing football. He just exposed me to just seeing more. And so you can look all around you and see more. I mean, this is the information age. You got social media. What do you read? Everything is in the book. Millionaires and billionaires, they love to tell their story. They love to talk about how they make their riches. Sometimes you have to step outside of your circle to get that exposure that you're looking for or that you need.
So meetups, networking events, things of that nature.
Man, absolutely. You got to get outside your house. You got to get out there. Meetups, social media, going to different events. And then when you go to these events, don't just go and stand there. You got to ask, man, introduce yourself. Become a flamingo. Be like E. You got to get out and talk to people. That's the only way you're going to find out. I mean, just think about this, see. I got exposure to you, to E, from going to you conferences, from being at the first conference 6-7 years ago. We was in Hartford, Connecticut. I wasn't just sitting up saying, hey, I'm going to have these guys come to me. No, I went to you. I kept going. I never missed a conference a day in my life. Ever since you guys started the conference, I showed up to each one because I wanted that exposure. I didn't want nothing else from you guys but exposure, meaning that I saw intelligent guys. I saw guys that were doing something with themselves, and I felt that I just wanted to be around you guys to have some of that fall off on me and bring that exposure back to Chicago. That was it. So I came to you guys. I went to the place. I didn't have to. I mean, with my friends, that was 20 years ago. I trust me. I've had way more exposure since then. The exposure never stops. If you think about it, it's all around you. You got to go get it. It's all around you. It's in your face. You just got to get it.
Okay, Jay, another question that I had, just listening is, okay, you were able to, you're a police officer. You were able to build, the empire in real estate, and then build the empire in daycare, and then again with the security company. But you still have this full-time job. Now, it's people out here who saying there's no way possible, and I'm one of them. There's no way possible you could find that much time in a day to run all these things. Did you have somebody, what was the cheat code? Did you have somebody who just knew what was up and they ran around and did all your errands for you? Walk us through when you first started in this, space, when you were on the beat, you were still patrolling. Walk us through what that looked like, actually starting something from the ground. We take pride here in BU in giving people practical information. So somebody who has an 8-hour shift, or you're working 8-9 hours a night, day, whatever it was, walk us through what a day in the life looked for you when you were getting started. Because did you have kids already? Were you married? Like, walk us through what that looked like once you started this empire.
Got you, definitely, bro. In the beginning, no, I wasn't married. I was engaged. We didn't have any children. And this is in the beginning, because this was a process that went over time. But I'm going to start off with the beginning. In the beginning, see, I put in for the night shift. I volunteered to work the night shift. I had my father being on the job. He had a little pull, so he was able to get me on the daytime shift, working good hours. But I said, no, I wanted to work the night shift. Why? Because I needed that freedom. And so what happens with the police department, I started work at midnight. So I worked from midnight to 8 a.m. So, but from midnight to 4 a.m. in Chicago, it was super busy. So, we would be doing everything we're doing in a squad car, making arrests, answering calls. And then something happens, man, at 4 a.m. Everybody was going to sleep. Once the clubs let out, it was just the radio would be dead. And so I would always tell whatever partner I was working with, I tell them, hey, man, I'll go ahead and drive. Let me drive. Because my partners, they always used to work part-time jobs, and so they would be tired. And they would always want to go to the hole. And, the hole is the thing. Let me tell you what the hole is, see. The hole is where police officers, it's like a little dark area. We find like it could be in a park. It could be somewhere behind a building. And it's just somewhere where you kind of hide. You kind of get away, and just kind of, some officers go there, watch movies. They get on their phones, social media. They make phone calls, talk on the phone all day, or just listen to music. Some of them go to sleep. But for me, whenever we went to the hole.
So from 4 to, hold on, I just want to make sure we straight. So from 4 to 8 o'clock, so you got this jumping shift, 12 to 4, everybody's is popping, everybody's working hard. But from 4 to 8, right, most officers are finding this place called the hole, where basically you can just duck off because there's not a lot going on. Nobody really checking for you because it's 4 o'clock in the morning and nothing's going on anyway. And you can kind of get away and go to this hole and just kind of veg out, chill, go to sleep, lunch, if you will.
Right, waiting for your next call to happen.
Okay, got you. I'm with you.
Right. So, officers, man, they would always go to the hole. When I was first starting out, I just thought that this was the culture of the police department. They would go to the hole and you sit up in there and, either both of y'all, one person take a nap, the other person, watching a movie or vice versa. And I was just like, man, it just seemed like there's so much wasted time going on right here. And then that's when I started reading. I started reading books. I started reading books about real estate. I started reading books, self-help books. I started listening to motivational speaking, motivational tapes. E wasn't out back then. And so, Les Brown was that was my motivator back then. And I used to just listen to stuff. And I would always try to, educate myself on whatever it is I was trying to do. And so, and then once the clock hit about, I'd say probably about like 5, 6 in the morning, I would literally, while my partner was sleeping in the passenger seat, I would drive around. I would get real estate listings the day before, and I would literally drive around the area to these properties. I would get out the car with my flashlight, go up to the porches. I had the codes to the property, so a lot of them I would go inside, which I was still doing my job because I'm checking on abandoned properties pretty much. I'm going through the neighborhood. And so I would go to the property.
My.
Hey, bro, I had to
thought if I ever seen one.
I had to make it work, man. So.
Oh, no doubt. I'm just learning. I got my notepad out, so I'm sorry. Continue. I felt the spirit of Johnny Gill jumped on me. My.
Yeah, I would go to these properties, man, and then I would write down everything about this property, how much work it needed, how much I can make off this property, how much I can get for rental income off this property if I wanted it or not. And then by the end of the day, when we were getting off work, while most people, if they were looking at the same property, they were just getting up to go to their job, and then they wouldn't even go look at the property until probably 4 or 5 o'clock when they was getting off work. But I would already have a contract submitted by that time. And then the properties that I was already working on, I would get off work at 8 o'clock. I would already have my workers getting whatever material they needed for that property from Home Depot. I would meet them there in full uniform, still got my police uniform on, getting drywall dust on it and things like that. And then I would help them unload the stuff at the property, and then we would start working on the property. I wouldn't get home to probably like somewhere around 2 o'clock, and then I would go to the gym and work out because I always wanted to keep my health. I never wanted that lifestyle where my whole life was gravy, but yet my body, I wasn't in shape. I had to have everything going for me. So I utilized every single hour I got. After that, after I worked out, I would get something to eat. I would lay down in the daytime. I remember times I used to put aluminum foil up to the windows to keep the sunlight from coming in my bedroom because it was just too bright. Then I would, my fiance at the time would come home. We would spend some time together. She knew what I was on. She knew what I was doing. She knew what the plan was. So she never, at the time, like got on my back about anything. She supported me the whole time. And that was that. And then I would go to work and do it all over again, bro. Every single day, I worked towards that vision I had for myself. That vision, man, was so clear in my head, bro. It was like I could almost touch it. It was so, dude, my life went towards that vision. It was like everything about that vision was real for me. So I had to bring it about. I had to work towards it. I had to keep going.
So that's why the vision is so important, then, Jay, because once you have the vision and it's so clear, it's easier for the actions to line up.
Yeah, when something is real, like some people have thoughts. a thought a lot of times is not real. But, bro, when you have a vision and that vision keeps calling you, you see it, you can hear it. That's how I gave birth to all these different businesses, man. And I kept going because I heard it, I seen it. I didn't just see it, bro. I smelt it, I tasted it, I knew what it was, and I had to bring it about. I already knew it was real. I just had to bring it about to show everybody else.
So, okay, so I got you. So as an entrepreneur now, I'm wondering just how much things have changed, right? Because there was a time, like you said, you going to pick up the drywall yourself. You actually got to do these things. How does your life look now as an entrepreneur and a full-time police officer? I believe you're at the job now, right?
I'm at the job sitting in the office right now. I've been off work,
Okay.
and this is a prime example. History repeats itself. I've been off work since 4 o'clock, and in Chicago right now it's 5:35, and I'm sitting here. Still, I got a list. I got a bunch of real estate listings. Right now, my goal is I want 500 units, meaning I want 500 different people putting checks in my hand on the first. So I'm doing the same thing I was doing 18 years ago, but the difference is it's just elevated. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right,
So in terms of Jay, in terms of your day to day now, you got kids now. Now not even a fiance. You and Camille are obviously married. You got the 3 kids that you wanted. How do you balance it now as opposed to back then? The reason I ask you this, Jay, is because people always ask me, and I say it's a season. You know what I'm saying? Like there's seasons for everything. Like there was a time when Candace and I, for real, we would like kiss each other goodbye in the morning. And it was off to the races till like 11 midnight for both of us, right? Like she was in that grind mode too with GE and, just trying to, get her way in the company. And of course that, can't necessarily be the case now with, 2 kids that need a lot of attention and things of that nature and a marriage that you try to keep tight and all of that. So how does your schedule differ from, when you first started? How do you manage your time now as an entrepreneur, as a successful entrepreneur who still has a full-time job? Like, how does that balance look for you now?
Man, I would tell you one thing that's huge for me, is the fact that I share my businesses with people that I love. And so it's kind of easy for me now. Well, I say it's easy, but somebody might still think it's hard. But because we developed this chain of daycare centers, my wife runs them now. So now it gives us something together to work towards. So now, my wife, she's at the daycare centers. I take care of all of the business end of it. So I'm behind the scenes. I want her to walk in her gift. This is something that she really wanted to do. This is something that she's going to excel at or she has excelled at. Mm-hmm. So I take care of everything else. So I take care of all of the back stuff, the stuff that, I want her to deal with the children, deal with the parents, deal with all the fun stuff. And I take care of all the behind the scenes stuff. It's the same thing for the security company. I saw what my brother's gift was. And his gift was in managing people, managing officers. That's what he gets paid for with the state police. He's been a sergeant for the last several years. That's what he does. Officers respond to him well. So what did I do with that? When we started the security business, I put him over the officers. That's all I want him to worry about is the officers. And that's what he loved doing. He's great at it. I take care of all the other stuff behind the scenes. I take care of the attorneys. I take care of the accountants. I take care of all of the things that a lot of people don't want to take care of in business, and I let them walk in their purpose.
I love it. That kind of sparks something in me. In order to build an empire like the one you have, it's expanded, outside the reach of, yourself and your wife and your brother. Now you have a bunch of people working. As an entrepreneur who has, several people that work for him, you also have a construction company. So you manage, guys in the construction team, all the way to the security, to the daycares you're hiring. Can you walk us through just a couple of, practices in terms of building your team? Or is it like you let your wife build her team with the daycares, you let your brother build his team? Like what do those hiring practices look like, Jay? Because a lot of times when I talk to entrepreneurs, the main thing they say is, man, it's hard to find good help. And it is, right? Like the hardest thing can be like, building a team and finding people you trust who can run things and finding employees who are down to work hard and not just look at the clock and go, okay, when am I going to get out of here and get my check? Like, what are your practices as it relates to hiring and, just developing your team and your staff?
Yeah. So as far as with hiring, far as hiring, what we done, even in the beginning when it came to the daycare centers, I had a board of people that I trusted. I remember having my mother on the board because my mother has, she has a way with people. I remember my father was on the board. My wife was on the board. I was on the board. My sister was on the board. And we would literally interview people. And everybody on that panel would ask a question. It was well, a lot of people say it was pretty intimidating, but I got everybody's opinion. And I asked them, what did you think about this person? And everybody had a great quality for a person, and everybody, might have said something bad about that person. But I put together a team of people, and even with the security company, I still use those same people. Whenever we hiring somebody with the security firm, we still interview people, and we still had that same board. It worked once before. We got some of the same employees for the daycare center that we had for the last 10 years. So, yeah, so that's. So, I mean, don't get me wrong now. We got some bad ones, too. We've had some.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We've had some people that we had to get rid of, and that's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen in any business that you have, but at the same time, you want to try to limit as much, the type of people that you hire, the bad ones. And, I mean, some people, they display, just like good people display the same qualities, a lot of bad ones going to display those same qualities also.
Yeah, Jay, quick question. Yeah. This popped into my mind, and I'm just trying to go through all the stuff people ask me on a regular basis, and I want to make sure that we can get this out. When you started this thing, you talk about your father and being a police officer, your mother being a police officer, you being a police officer. So like you continued down this lineage, right? And so a lot of people kind of step into what the natural thing is. Oh, my parents went to college, graduated, and they became an accountant. I became an accountant. Whatever the situation may be, you didn't have multimillionaire in your blood. Like that wasn't something you were born with, but you always knew you wanted to be a multimillionaire because you knew you wanted financial freedom. You wanted to be. Jay is super philanthropic. He helps people all the time. Just a great guy. You knew you wanted to be that. But a lot of, especially these millennials and a lot of people who come up to me, they always say, CJ, nobody believes in my dream, bro. Like I want to be this, actor. I want to, start this company. I want to do this app. I got this business idea, but nobody believes in me. When you started and you had this grand vision of, running this empire and building, a 10,000 square foot home, and you were going to drive this car and send your kids to private school and all of these, things to travel, and you and your wife are going to go spend time in Spain and all of these things that you're doing right now. When you explain this to people back when you started, what was the reaction? Were people Did you have a bunch of cheerleaders? Did you have doubters? Did you have haters? What was your mom and dad's reaction who, probably were happy to see you just carrying on the family tradition? Did they feel, slighted? Like, oh, what you saying, a police officer ain't good enough? Like, what kind of resistance did you meet? What kind of cheerleaders did you have? And how much did that impact your mindset or your work ethic?
It's crazy, man, because my parents, when I was on the podcast, I mentioned to you, they used to always ingrain in us and ask us what we want to be when we grow up. So it wasn't so that they can try to push off the police department in our head. But don't get me wrong, they was proud that we were wearing that badge, just like they was. They were proud that at a young age I was getting benefits and things like that. But they never wanted us to be the police. Not saying it was a bad thing. I think they just wanted us to kind of get in our head. They were helping us develop a vision for our own life at a young age. So I wouldn't say, my parents was very supportive in the beginning. Actually, my parents, I exposed them to real estate. With their first building, I had my parents, I actually showed them how to do it. I bought a piece of property for them. I fixed it up. And I did all this in their name, and they trusted me. And I went ahead, and after they were collecting probably about $1,500 positive cash flow every single month. And then after 1 year, we sold the property, made them $100,000 profit. And I remember, man, my dad, my mother, she kind of the type where she always, I'm her baby. She trusted me. She loved me. But my dad, man, my dad was kind of like, whoa, they went ahead and split. I told them, hey, I want y'all to split this money. Mom, I want you to take your $50,000 and do whatever it is you want to do. Dad, I want you to take your $50,000 and do whatever. Man, my dad, I'm telling you, he did not cash that check for probably about 6 months. He was just scared. And we was like, my dad being a police officer for the last, 30 years, and then all of a sudden he just get a check for $50,000 in one year. And he was just like, no, this can't be right. There's got to be something wrong. So I think it kind of messed him up mentally because he was just like, wait a minute, man, it can't be this easy. It just can't be. I've been working this job all these years, and I've been doing this, taking promotional tests, doing this, doing that, and all of a sudden my son just buys this piece of property, and then we rent it out. We make it $1,500 every single month. Then all of a sudden after the year, he just sells it, and now I get 50 and my wife gets 50. It can't be this easy. And so eventually I was like, Dad, if you don't cash that check, man, it's gonna expire, bro. He's like,
he went on and cashed it. Well, man, listen. Yeah, listen, I swear, I'm not even joking. I could go on for like another 5 hours, but I'm gonna stop being greedy now and let the line get in on the questions, man, because I know we have a ton of people out there listening who are inspired by your story, who, just, been wanting to ask you questions. So anything, Carl, like let's jump to the people real quick. I know we got about 17 minutes. Want to be respectful of Jay's time, but let's get some of the people involved.
Got it. Adam, what's happening, brother? You there, Adam? All right, Adam, we'll come back.
Real quick, Carl, can we get Elijah in the fold? He just texted me. I'm not sure if he knows how to unmute, but Elijah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Start.
Oh, okay, there he is.
Yep.
All right, cool. Elijah, go ahead, jump in, bro.
Cool. Hey, Jamal, fire. I do real estate myself, and can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I get you perfect, bro.
Oh, cool. So I've been doing real estate for like 13 years myself, and when I got my first check, I thought it was illegal too. I'm like, there's no way you can make this type of bread. It has to be illegal. So that's funny. I can relate with your pops. So I literally listened to the podcast twice. I was writing down notes, and when CJ told me about this, remarkable. So a couple quick questions. I get everybody else a chance too. But one of the things that stuck out to me is when you had a chance to, when your friend introduced you to the realtor lady, right?
Yes.
All right. So if you guys looked at, I think you said 77 properties before you actually bought one, pulled the trigger on one.
That's correct.
So how did, I think that's a pivotal part that a lot of people sleep on, because on a 50th time, you could have said, man, you're not bringing me right properties, or she could have been like, dude, you're never going to buy a property. I'm wasting my time. How did you guys not lose faith in each other at that point?
Elijah, check this out, man. That's a great question. The reason why we kept looking at 77 properties, it wasn't saying that property number 5 wasn't a good property. But the thing that we did, if you remember, I said we wrote down all of my debt from the most to the least. So my house note was a certain number, and I wanted to find a property that was going to net me enough money to pay my house note. So it wasn't about what was a good property, what was a bad property. It took 77 properties for me to find the one that was going to finance my house.
Discipline.
But I think Jay and Elijah, correct me if I'm wrong. He wants to know how, like, why did she put up with you? Who would sit around and show you 77 properties before you bought one? So we know why you bought that one, but why was she so patient with you to say, because that's the same lady you're using now, and so y'all were able to build that relationship, Jay. But who has the patience to sit around and go, I'm gonna show you 77 properties before we get one off? Why after 69 properties, 70 properties, didn't she just say, okay, to hell with this?
You know what, man? I think that if she was here right now, she probably would say something different. But she knew my plan. She knew my vision. And she knew that this wasn't a one-time client. She knew exactly what I was doing because I laid out my vision in front of her. And so it was kind of like, okay, this is a young guy who's going to be around a lot of time. And she'll tell you, she used to tell all her other brokers, all you need is one. And she always called me her one. All you need is one. Because, now, with my portfolio that I have, she was able to start a property management company. And so now she manages all my property. So every single property that she went and sold me, she actually manages also. All of the properties that I buy from her, I fix and I sell, so she get paid twice on the deal. When I purchase the property, she make the money, and then I pay her to manage my construction now because I got so many projects going on. I currently got 8 projects going on right now to flip off at the same time. and she manages that. And I pay her when I sell the property. She makes commission on it. So all it takes, man, if any real estate brokers out here, you don't have to go chasing 1,000 other clients. All you need is that one. That's it. That one.
Let me ask one last one. One last one. I promise. I'll put it back on mute. One other thing I saw, Jay, that was just remarkable was your first daycare, your first and second daycare. If I'm looking at my notes right, you converted the first daycare from a church into a daycare, and the second one was like a storage or is a warehouse. Did you convert it to a?
Yeah, it was a cleaner. It was a dry cleaners.
Dry cleaners. And so my question to you is, how were you able to identify, hey, this is a church that I can convert to a daycare? And there's one thing to have the thought, like you said, but the vision to do it. But it is a lot of red tape. I think it took you 2 years to go through the red tape, the permits, the rezoning, the replanning, and to be able to execute that. How did you not lose faith through that whole portion?
Well, the thing is, I'll start with the reason why. You know, like I said on the podcast, you know, I wanted a place for my daughter. We were trying to find a daycare center for my daughter, but at the same time, that community in Chicago didn't have any daycare centers in that area. That was an area where, as CJ would say, I found the gaps. You know, that was an area that didn't have any. That was an area that was been forgotten about. If you know about Chicago, that area is called Inglewood. It's supposed to be the worst area in Chicago. So we went in there and we brought something to a community that was a desert. They did not have childcare. They would have to always travel outside the community. But then when you look at it, that's the community with the most kids, with the highest teen pregnancy rate. So we brought something to the community that was needed. You know, and that's why it was so successful. And I think that's why it flourished so fast, because it was nothing there. And ever since we opened up our 2 daycares there in that area, several people opened up their centers around us now. Now people bringing daycare centers to the area now. But it was a need, man. It was a need. So a lot of times you got to supply that need.
Find the gaps. I love it. You talking my love language now. I love it. Carl, yep. Thanks, Elijah. Appreciate that.
And this, guys, let's do this in rapid fire. It's a lot of hands. So, Adam, if you can unmute on your end, I'll give you a shot real quick again.
Hello.
Unmute. That's you, Courtney. I had you next, but since you beat Adam to it, go for it.
Oh, okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Good to hear from y'all, fellas. Real quick, I heard ET say something, and I'm struggling with it, but it seems like Jamal has got it. I heard him say, "Don't let your ambition cloud your judgment." And for a young guy, you know, like yourself at that time, how did you, I guess, what made you know you were making the right decision with each purchase or with each business or with each, with the mindset that you have? How did you know you weren't taking too big of a bite off your plate?
Bro, because Courtney, let me tell you this, man. How old are you?
32.
What? You say 32?
I'm sorry. I just turned 33 Saturday. I forgot. 33.
It happens once you get over 30.
Man.
Courtney, for me, it was baby steps. It was where I had a victory each time I bought a property. I identified. I had a bill that I attached to a building. So it was like I knew that I was being successful. I knew that I was doing right because I seen my debt start eliminating. And I wasn't ever looking at my overall debt. I was looking at my monthly debt because it was my monthly debt that most people get up and they go to work for. It's like you get up, go to work just to pay your monthly debt. So I knew that if I eliminated my monthly debt, then it was going to give me time. It was going to give me freedom. It was going to allow me to do more things that I want to do. And that's why I tell a lot of people, man, like a lot of times people try to chase their passion or trying to chase their dreams, and they're wondering why it's taking so long to get there. It's taking long to get there because you've got so much to take care of right now. You got all of this debt or you got all this monthly bills weighing you down, and so you're giving 20% to your dreams, and you're giving, you giving 80% to your actual working for somebody else because you got to eat. You need a roof over your head. So I noticed that every time one of my bills was being taken care of, then that was a small victory. And then next thing you know, I had maybe several more bills left, and I didn't think about having a real estate portfolio that was going to be worth $10 million. I was just trying to take care of my day-to-day debt. because I knew a police officer lived in a certain kind of box, and I wanted more for myself. I wanted that same kind of house my boy had, man. I wanted that same kind of car. I wanted my wife. You know, my man had girlfriends. He had all types of chicks. I was with my lady since we were in high school. I felt like she deserved better. So once I started seeing stuff happen for me, I knew that it was right. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie, bro. When I was able to tell my wife, man, that she didn't have to work no more, and then yet I was still giving her money, I mean, how can you not see the victory?
I got you.
Okay, Jay, you speaking now. Now you trying to get a check. Okay, you speaking now.
I know, right?
Hey, man,
you was. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. You could see. I hear the passion coming out. Come on, let's keep it going, Carl.
It's real, man. It's real. It's real, and I know what it did for me. I mean, dude, it's the freedom, bro. And the thing about it, a lot of people might ask, why did I stay a police officer, bro? It's because I'm still like 50% of me is cop, but then 50% of me is real estate investor, or not just. I don't even like the words real estate investor because I'm an investor. I invest in businesses, I invest in people, I invest in my community, I invest all around. Everything I do is an investment. So I love being around people like yourself, Courtney. You know, Adam. You know, Elijah, brother. I love hearing stuff like that. And I hear these type of questions every day while I'm at work.
I'll be real with you though. At 33, I'll be real with you. With a 12-year-old son now, and I'm a bartender. It almost seems, to be honest, impossible to get that first step. I'm kind of barely making enough now.
Courtney, let me say this, bro. Let me say this, Courtney. Courtney, let me say this, man. It's not how much you make, bro. It's how much you keep. Just think about that statement. I know a lot of people that make $1 million a year and they spend $1 million a year also. And then I know people that make $90,000 a year and they keep $90,000 a year. It's not about what you make, dog. It's what you keep. So you need to go ahead and I mean, we can talk further, bro, and we can develop a plan and a system. Eliminate your debt. Stop looking at making more money and start thinking about eliminating the debt so you can keep the little money or whatever kind of money you have. That's the first step. Then once you're able to live off your investments, you ain't got to be worried about, I'm just a bartender, I'm this, I'm that. Because then at that point, bro, you can walk in your passion because you ain't got to worry about your day-to-day. That's how I did it. That's how it happened for me.
Yeah, and Courtney, I would say you listen to Jay's second step. You followed the first step. You got exposed. You're on the phone right now. Good job. The second one is you got to change your vision, right? Jay, if I'm not mistaken, that was point 2. You just told me, you know, it's almost impossible. That don't sound like a vision to me. Jay didn't say, yo, it's almost impossible. Even though most people would use the same language you just used, Courtney, it's impossible to start a multi-million-dollar empire while being a Chicago traffic officer, or foot police officer, 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and build a multi-million-dollar empire. Jay didn't say it's impossible. Jay said, this is exactly what it's going to be. This is how I'm going to do it. This is the steps I'm going to take towards making that happen. And he said it. Listen, Courtney, he said because the vision was so clear, he woke up and worked towards that every single day. So just the language that you're using right now, Courtney, be careful, bro. If you say it's impossible, it's impossible, right? Absolutely. What's the Ford quote? If you say you can, you can. If you say you can't, you right too.
You can, yeah.
Right. So change your language. Like Jay just told you, once you get the vision so clear in your mind, bro, you wake up and work a completely different way. If you getting up every day going, this is impossible, well, of course it's going to be impossible. So change your language. You got exposed already, but listen to Jay's second point. Find that new vision, right? Find that new vision.
Yeah, I appreciate that, fellas.
Yep, no problem. Carl, let's sneak in a couple more.
All right, Isaiah, you there? Mr. Alejandro. You're unmuted, sir. Just go for it. All right, Julie.
Hello.
Go for it, Julie.
Okay. I had a question. So let's say you are working your full-time job, but you're able to, start something on the side. Did you set up like a certain amount of money or a certain specific amount of time that you set up to start that side business?
No. For the first, well, what I did for my first property I didn't have much money. I remember my wife, well, she was my fiance at the time. She gave me a portion of the down payment for the first property, and the other portion I took a loan, with the with the police department. I'm laughing because they give you a $5,000 uniform allowance loan at the beginning. So when you first start the business, when you first start the police department, that's to buy your gun, that's to actually get your uniform, your belt. You're supposed to use that $5,000 to get everything you need for the street. But I went and took that $5,000 and the money that my wife gave me, and we took that money and we put it on our first property. So I just had to find a way. Sometimes you just got to, and when you look, it's all kind of money out here. It's all kind of money out here. You just got to sell yourself. You got to sell the idea. And it's crazy because at the beginning, nobody would, pretty much probably give me money. But now that I got money, everybody want to give me money. It's weird. It's weird like that. When I need it, it's hard to get. But then when you don't need it, everybody want to give it to you.
Love it.
Yeah, and for those in real estate, I know you don't need any money to wholesale, right? Like wholesale is basically just running out, finding deals, things of that nature. So if you're looking for that startup capital, look at doing some wholesaling or something that can put a quick 5-10 G's in your pocket over a couple of transactions and get started like that, right, Jay?
And you know what? Something else, CJ. I always tell people, let real estate finance your dreams. You can. I never technically dreamed about being in real estate. I never dreamed about opening a daycare center. I never dreamed about owning a multi-million-dollar security firm. But I use real estate. So a lot of times I have people here in Chicago. I have them buy a piece of property, and even if they don't have a place to live or they're renting, I'll have them buy a piece of property, move in that property, and then collect the rent. Your tenants are going to pay the mortgage to that property. And then I have them refinance that property, pull whatever cash out, and then use that money now as your startup money for your business. So now you're living rent-free. Now you're living rent-free, and now you got this lump sum of cash that you can invest into whatever your business is that you want to start. Use real estate. The money is there. I mean, it's and I know I'm making it sound probably so easy right now, but it is. It's that easy. It's that easy. Just since the time we talked on the podcast, I put contracts on several more properties, and between these 3 properties that I'm supposed to be closing on in another 2 months, they're gonna net me $14,000 a month. It's just that simple. It's all type of stuff out here. You just gotta step outside your circle. Go meet some real estate brokers. Get out here and just and see what's out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Tammy, guys, I'm doing rapid fire. So Tammy, are you there? Trying to get as many as we can in. Tammy Riley, you there? All right. I'm going to move to, I don't want to mess it up, Ronyel Blout. Forgive me if I'm messing it up. Just unmute on your end.
Yes, how you doing? It's Ronyel Blunt.
Got it. What's happening?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Shout out to all y'all. How everybody doing out here in this beautiful Houston weather? I just had a question for Jay. When you bought your property, did you already when did you purchase your own first home for yourself? Or did you and your wife wait, invest more into it, then you move into your own place?
Yeah, my third property. My third property was the house. And I said on the podcast, my parents kicked me out the house. We would have stayed there. Things were going good. And by that time, bro, we was making like over $8,500 residual income from our first 2 properties. And then that's when we went and purchased my third property. That's when my third property was a property that we renovated. It's called a Greystone. That property was about 4,000 square feet. And that was my first home.
Got it. All right, you good, Ronyel, on that? All right. Jay, how many more you want to take? We usually go to 7. I'll give you the call.
Yeah, get him one or 2 more, Carl.
Okay, got it. So Mike Weston, you there, Mike? Just unmute on your end.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. First, I'd like to just say that your story has been very inspiring to my wife and I. We've always been super interested in real estate investing, and we're currently actually in the beginning processes of figuring out some credit repair folks to help get our credit up a little bit so we can help with our percentage and everything, get the lower percentage rate. So my question is, do you have any input on credit agencies or resources, or should we, try to attack that ourselves, or any ideas on that could help us moving forward?
You know what? I wish I can ask around with my real estate broker because she helps out a lot. She knows a few different people that can possibly help with that. It's crazy, Mike. I haven't used my credit in a minute. Now, when you're buying property at this point, the banks kind of look at your portfolio, and if you're not using cash, they look at your portfolio. They don't even ask for credit. So yeah, I can, but I definitely can get some information from April, my real estate broker. She's a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure she definitely can have some information. If you just maybe email or something like that, I can get you whatever information you need to know, buddy.
Awesome. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, beautiful. We'll give out Jay's email at the end so everybody can contact him because.
And I apologize, y'all. I don't have social media. I know Nicky told me about that.
Although Nicky is on his head and he's gonna have it soon,
right.
So.
Nicky
he already knows. He already knows.
Okay, got you, Carl. Let's take one more.
All right, Kara. What you got for us, Kara?
Oh, yeah. So first of all, I'm just so excited to hear you, Jay. You really inspired me from the podcast last week, and I want to share, I guess, and you can tell me if you think this is the right decision or not. Of course, my husband's not on board yet with anything I'm saying, but I was listening to what you were saying about using the real estate, and I kept thinking, oh man, I wish we got into the real estate game until I was thinking about, what we could do. And somehow, I was filling out an application to get my student loan payments reduced, and they wanted to know about my assets. And when I told them about my home, they were like, you have too much, your assets are too high. And I hadn't even thought about the house we're living in. We have like $80,000 in equity. I just hadn't checked it in so long because we bought the house in foreclosure in 2008. And so my question is, I was thinking, does it make sense to consider selling the house, sell the house and then maybe use that to get out of debt, and downsize? Because I'm self-employed now. I'm a full-time entrepreneur health coach. I don't have that six-figure corporate income anymore. I'm rebuilding. I would do anything not to go back to corporate. And last thing I say is, you said you use a building for every bill. My daughter was like, Mom, you should be doing Uber. You got a newer car, you could Uber for your car note. And that's exactly what I'm getting ready to do. They're almost finished approving me. I'm not beneath that. I'd rather do that than go back to corporate and have somebody tell me what to do all day long.
I like that. First off, I appreciate that. One thing with me, I tell people I'm not out of debt. So I don't want it to get misconstrued. I'm not out of debt, but I don't pay for my debt. If that makes sense. I don't pay for my debt. All my investments takes care of my debt. And so now the money I make on the police department, $90,000, that just goes in my pocket. So when I say I make $90,000, I keep $90,000 with the police department. When from the money from the daycare centers, we're able to keep that money, whatever we pay ourselves with that. The money we make from the security firm, we're able to keep that money. Why? Because our lifestyle is totally covered from our investments. So that was the first thing that I did, was made sure that my debt was covered. So, and as my lifestyle grew, my debt grew too, but I just had more debt covering that lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I still have a house note. I mean, right now I live in, my house is an 18,000 square foot house. That's the one I live in now. And it's my dream house. But something else or somebody else pays for that. I don't pay for it. I never paid a house note. So I get the chance to live the way I want to live. My wife keep a new car. I keep a new car. My kids go to private schools. We get to live the way that we want to live, but yet we don't work for it. The reason why we don't want to work for it is because I want to be able to take that same lifestyle and pass it on to my kids. It's no good if it's just me. I need my children to experience that same thing. I want them to walk in their passion. I do the same thing my parents did with me. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And so whatever it is they want to be when they grow up, I want them to have their lifestyle covered so that they don't have to worry about that and they can walk in their passion.
My. One more, Carl. One more. Do we got one more? I'm going to take one. Jay just in the rhythm.
We got like 6 more. Miguel, you there? Yeah, Jay, the stuff you say now. I'm over here writing it down, Jay. Stop playing. Miguel, you there? All right, I'm gonna move.
Hey, what's going on?
There he is. What's up?
Not much. I'm telling you right now, that story is completely inspiring to me. One thing that I did start my own little business with my wife because of the 100-day challenge, and right now we're really profitable. My mindset is I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about right now we're buying stuff off of coupons and reselling them. And right now we make about $200 profit per day. This is our third weekend selling and building our clientele because we have repeat clientele as well. I wanted to know when it comes to businesses for first people doing it for the first time.
We might have to try it
Do you
again.
have any?
Yeah, Miguel, you
Your
started
phone's
breaking.
breaking up.
Yeah.
Go to somebody else, Carl.
How about
Miguel, see
now?
if you can get to it better. Okay, let me see it. That might be better. Go for it.
Oh, my bad. Okay. So do you guys have any like ideas? My thing is, I want to go ahead and expand the business and probably open up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
breaking
Carl,
up.
you have to
Miguel.
come back to him maybe.
Yeah, it's breaking up. Sorry, man. We'll get Jamal's email again, like CJ said. I'll jump to Tammy. Are you there again? I got Tammy, and then I got YB.
Yeah, can you hear me this time?
Yep, we got you.
There you
Awesome.
go,
Thank
Tammy.
you. It's my second time. Appreciate it. I've been listening to that podcast from last week on rotation, Jamal. Thank you so much. I have a question for you. If you're talking to yourself right now at 40, 18 months away from retirement, and you were just starting this journey right
12
now.
months, 12 months.
Oops, sorry about that.
Don't give me a
Get it right now. Get it right, Tammy.
I know that's right.
12 months and what did you say? You have to work 19 years in a day? I hear you. So if you were talking to yourself right now, what would be the first kind of investment property you would buy? Because I've got something saved up. I'm interested in it. I've owned a few homes, but I've always sold them when I moved out of them. And I don't think that was wise. So I'm looking to get into investing. What would be the first investment property you would buy if you were just starting out at 40?
I was just starting out, I would still do the same thing I did when I was in my 20s. I would take care of my debt. I think everybody really needs to grasp that first. Take care of your debt. I've seen people this is not just about getting in real estate. It was for me about taking care of my debt. I wanted something that was going to cover that so I would never feel like I was under pressure or under the gun with the police department. I always wanted to feel like I had freedom. So I would say, Tammy, the first thing, what's your bill that you have to work for every day? You know, what's the bill that you hate paying? What's that bill that you just work 75% of your time for that you got to pay? And with most people, it's their rent or their mortgage.
It's my mortgage.
I wanted to eliminate that bill. And then when you eliminate that bill first, Tammy, you're going to feel like you're living rent-free. Because somebody's going to put that money in your hand, and then you're going to give it to the bank. Now you're going to keep. It's not about all the time what you make, it's what you're able to keep. You got to backdoor this thing. So now your largest bill that you've been working for every day, 40 hours a week, you eliminated that bill. And then one thing that I didn't even talk about on the podcast or didn't talk about on this call is that properties I bought 18 years ago, I only had 20-year mortgages. Some of them was 15-year mortgages. So some of these properties, you talking about retirement. When I retired from the police department, I get a small little pension. I don't even know what it is. Whatever. But I didn't even realize at the time that I'll be getting these properties will all be coming through. So you're talking about over 30, 40 properties where they all come and do. I'm getting in the mail deed. And these properties I bought 18, 20 years ago, they were valued at the time $200,000. Now they're worth $400,000. And I'm getting that deed in the mail. So that means now I got $400,000 just sitting up. When you multiply that times all of these properties, you sitting real nice. So
Jay, are you saying to Tammy that she should find a property that could net her the income of her highest bill? So you're saying that's how you find the property?
Absolutely. base your property off of that, and it becomes real.
And you make
I
that
think
evaluation, and give us some quick math on how she can make that evaluation. Okay, I'm looking at a duplex. Both rents are about this much. The house is the note is this. Like, just give her a quick example.
Yeah, simple mathematics. So if you're looking at a property, let's say this property got, for me, it was 4 apartments. It was a 4-unit building. You know, the mortgage to this property was $1,000 after I took out a rehab loan, and so I had a low interest rate on it. So the mortgage payment was $1,000 a month. I was renting the property out. Each apartment was $1,000 each apartment. So that's $4,000 I was collecting. I was grossing. I'll take that $1,000 and I would pay the mortgage company their money, and I would net that $3,000 in my pocket every month. Just it's that simple. That simple. Start with that.
you.
Eliminate that, and trust me, it's gonna be like a sense of freedom when you get rid of that bill. Get rid of your largest bill, and you do it again, and then now you can go ahead and buy whatever kind of car you want to buy. You know, I switch up cars. I'm doing now at least. I don't even buy no more. At least because I got my investment taken care of it, and and it's a write-off for me. But utilize real estate to take care. Use buildings to take care of your bills. That's what I would say. Don't go just saying I want to go buy property and just willy-nilly looking for properties. Make it real for yourself. And that's why I still got the same properties I had 18 years ago, because I don't look at it like that's just a property. I look at it like, man, that property take care of my house. That property right here pays my kids' school tuition. So I'm going to make it work. I made it real for myself. Make it real.
Got it. Thank you. I'm sitting next to the next conference.
All right, YB, you up next, sir.
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings, Jay. This is YB, your LinkedIn locksmith. Appreciate your story. Phenomenal. My car was literally floating on the highway as I was listening to the podcast, so appreciate the information. What I'd like to know is, outside of you not making it into the league and outside of the situation where your partner, shot at the boy, what was your biggest struggle? Like, what was the struggle that you had experienced while you were in the process of building up your wealth?
I would say that I was not prepared. I didn't know you got to know how to manage money or spend money. I was receiving, and I know some people will be like, wow, that's a good problem to have, but I was receiving money so fast. I remember going to my dad. I didn't have nobody in my circle I can go to. I remember going to my dad and telling him, like, Dad, we made $1 million. The IRS is saying this, saying that. Nobody in my circle knew anything about making money like that. Making netting $1 million cash, $1 million in a year. Nobody that was in my circle knew anything about it. And so I didn't know anything about the IRS. I didn't know anything about 941 taxes. These are things that, as a blue collar worker, they take taxes out of your check. When you start owning a business and you got employees, you got to pay taxes for individuals. I didn't know all of this stuff. And so, pretty much I found out. So I know it all now, but I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know about bookkeeping. I didn't know about P&Ls, profit and loss statements. I didn't know about any of that. Some people come into the game knowing about all of this stuff, but yet I guess it kind of stops them from getting what they're supposed to get. But I didn't know any of this stuff, and we just was making money. And, so that was, I would say, YB, that was one big thing for me. We wasn't prepared for the income. We wasn't prepared for the blessing that came in. We didn't have no knowledge. And so now if I can go back in time, I probably would have, at the time, met some accountants, went ahead and researched some different attorneys and things like that. We just kind of was like, we were organic, man. We just was like, hey, we going to do this. Like I said on the podcast, I was a janitor, I was a cook, I was a teacher at daycare centers. We wasn't prepared pretty much for the blessing that came in.
So do you have a mastermind group to where people, if they wanted to learn from you and learn from your mistakes, that they could connect with you through some type of a mastermind group?
So that's something that we're putting together now, YB. That's my brother. All of this just started coming about. I mean, I've been with my circle. I've always helped out police officers. Guys in Chicago, they got real estate, they got daycare centers. Guys work security company with me, but I haven't took it to this large of a scale. And I think that's what CJ, E, and Carl, get something together, and we can, actually scale this thing where we can reach out the community with Breathe You and take it to that next level.
Yeah, we definitely need to implement, I think, some real estate courses and some things of that nature, Jay. Just, you can kind of help people get started with what you talk about in terms of, finance and, our life, basically. So like I said, man, there's so much information that you got. We definitely need to make sure that the community is accessing this at all times.